within the family, we've had two ways of resolving disputes. One is discussion, the dialectic, the marketplace of ideas, trying to arrive at the truth. We had an idea that there was some truth to arrive at. And then if we couldn't reach agreement, a vote. And that's how we operated. Nowadays, you have, I think the left has essentially withdrawn from this model and really represents a Rousseauian revolutionary party that believes in tearing down the system. That what's wrong about America today all has to do with the institutions we have, and we have to tear them down. And they're interested in complete political victory. They're not interested in compromise. They're not interested in dialectic exchange of views. They're interested in total victory. And it's a secular religion. It's a substitute for religion. They view their political opponents and as evil, because we stand in the way of their progressive utopia that they're trying to reach. And that's what gives, the intensity to the partisan feelings that people feel today. Because for them, this pilgrimage we're all on is a political pilgrimage. Everything is reduced to politics. For people who don't have that perspective, politics is important, but it's not the whole purpose of life.
Do you think this sort of Rousseauian ideology, or Hegelism and that ballpark, do you think it has devoured the Democrat Party in the last couple of years now? And does that explain why, during this hearing and in other opportunities, they will not condemn the violence? They will not condemn Antifa. Ted Cruz had a hearing the other day. One of the Democrat senators would not condemn Antifa. Do you think that's part of it?
Absolutely. I mean, I said during my hearing, can any of you just come out and say it's not okay to burn down federal courthouses? I mean, they talk about the rule of law. They talk about the importance of the federal legal system to protection of civil rights. Well, the heart of that is our court system, and they're not willing, not one of them piped up to say, no, it's not okay to be burning down federal courts. Why? Some of them are true believers. Some of them are essentially revolutionary in their outlook. They believe in tearing down the system. But many of them are just cowards who are mostly interested in getting reelected and are afraid about a challenge from the left. So for them, it's careerism. I sort of like my current gig and I'll do anything to stay here, and I won't stand up for what is right. I won't stand up for the country. I won't stand up for our institutions.
Are you shocked what's going on with police forces in this country? The brazen attack on police officers by Antifa and Black Lives Matter and other revolutionary groups, and the failure of local politicians to whom they report to protect them and defend them and protect and defend the citizens of these communities. Is this not shocking?
It is shocking. Even before the events in Minneapolis, I was speaking, since I became Attorney General again, about how in a full employment economy, which we did have and we will have again, that we have to be careful, because policing is becoming a very difficult and dangerous job. And you have to, in order to attract the best people there, you have to be supportive of them. And I was worried about the vacancy rates and the fact it's hard to keep police in many of our major cities. And then we had this turn of events where they've been demonized. The fact is, generally speaking, we have superb police in this country, very professional forces. And, these events do happen. We have over 600,000 police in this country, and there will be some instances of excessive force. But by and large, it's an excellent police force, and if they're going to be demonized like this, they're not going to work in these cities. So maybe there'll be a self-correcting mechanism. If communities don't support the police, they're going to have a hard time getting police.
And they're going to depopulate these communities. They're going to leave. Governor Cuomo the other day was begging millionaires and billionaires to stay in New York City. I don't think cooking dinner for them is going to It's going to replace safety. Let me read something to you. Gatestone Institute, International Policy, about Antifa. I don't think people really understand Antifa. And they say, empirical and anecdotal evidence shows that Antifa is in fact highly networked, well-funded, has a global presence. It is a flat organizational structure with dozens and possibly hundreds of local groups. And by the way, the oldest group is in Portland. They say Antifa's stated long-term objective, both in America and abroad, and it got its birth in Europe, England, then Germany, then the United States, is to establish a communist world order. And by the way, this information is put out. It's not like we're conspiracy theorists or so forth. In the United States, Antifa's immediate aim is to bring down the demise of the Trump administration. It's an attack on capitalism. They say they're attacking fascism when they're Marxist fascists, such thing. To bring down the Trump administration. It's interesting that one of the co-founders of Black Lives Matter said that one of her focuses is to bring down the Trump administration. What is it about the Trump administration that stands in their way?
Well, I think they would be, generally for bringing down any administration. They are a revolutionary group that is interested in some form of socialism, communism. They're essentially Bolsheviks. Their tactics are fascistic, and your description of them is consistent with what I've seen. With the Trump administration, a lot of it has been the demonization of the Trump administration from day one. I went back and I watched his victory speech after election night. People should go back and look at it. It was very measured. It was a very statesmanlike speech. He offered the olive branch. He praised Hillary Clinton, thanked her for all her service to the country, talked about working together to make things better for the American people. That was the day he won, and from that point forward, there's been the resistance. They were trying to impeach him from day one. They have done everything they can. They've shredded the norms of our system to do what they can to drive him from office or to debilitate his administration. And I think it's because of the desire for power, that the left wants power because that is essentially their state of grace and their secular religion. They want to run people's lives so they can design utopia for all of us, and that's what turns them on. And it's the lust for power, and they weren't expecting Trump's victory, and it outrages them.
In this document, this research, they talk about the roots of Antifa in the Baader-Meinhof gang in Germany and other really violent, radical organizations in the United States, similar to the Black Panthers, similar to the Weather Underground, except they're more networked, they're better organized. They seem to have more ammunition of sorts to use against police officers and so forth. And apparently they get a lot of their funding online. I have to believe that our agencies and so forth are really trying to construct some kind of scenario about what we're dealing with and how to undo this. Am I close?
It's a form of it's a new form of urban guerrilla warfare. Mao Zedong used to speak about the guerrilla being like fish swimming in the ocean, the way the guerrilla moves through the people. The guerrilla hides out among the people as a fish in the ocean. And what they do is they are essentially shielding themselves or shrouding themselves in First Amendment activity. They go into the demonstrations, which are exercising First Amendment activity, and they insinuate themselves in there to shield themselves. That's where they swim. And what they do is they hijack these demonstrations and they provoke violence, and they have various tiers of people from the sort of top provocateurs down through people who are their minions and sort of run the violent missions. But it's a difficult phenomenon to deal with. They're highly organized at these demonstrations, and these tactics that they use are designed, and the way the media responds to them. Of course, the media doesn't take footage of what's happening. They don't take the footage of the rocks being thrown.
I want to ask you about the media when we come back.
Yeah.
Because it seems to me you're onto something here. And these organizations know how to play the media, again, based on what I'm reading and based on what I'm seeing. And that is, they're extraordinarily violent, and they try to provoke a police response. And then the police are called by the Speaker of the House, stormtroopers. They're called Gestapo. They're called secret police. They're aligned with the Third Reich and Nazis. When we come back, I want to explore this with you.
Sure.
We'll be right back.
We made USAA insurance for veterans like Liz and Mike. When their growing family meant growing expenses, our agents helped make saving on insurance easy. USAA, what you're made of, we're made for.
It's time for the biggest sale of the year on the Sleep Number 360 Smart Bed.
Can I help with snoring?
I've never heard snoring.
Exactly.
No problem. And done. Save 50% on the Sleep Number 360 Limited Edition Smart Bed, plus 0% interest for 36 months. Ends Monday.
Ready? We don't want to be late. Baby's name is
Stephen Wright. It's Stephen with the PH.
The address is
531 Sage Street. That's just next to City Hall.
Where are my keys? My glasses?
Head.
Wait, how are you doing this?
Focus Factor.
Focus Factor has been clinically shown to improve memory, concentration, and focus. It improves verbal learning and short-term memory by 44%. So get your Einstein on.
Yo! Wow, Dad's on it too.
Focus Factor. Beat your Einstein.
Try Wayfair. You got this. You're welcome.
I love it. How did you do all this?
Told ya, Wayfair. Let's talk dining tables. Yes. Lola! Wayfair, you've got just what I need.
We believe in best friends and new friends. At Del Webb, we believe in growth, movement, and the awesome power of the get-together. We believe in beautifully designed homes with innovative floor plans and living exactly how you want to live, surrounded by people who make life better. Del Webb, we believe you'll like it here.
Excuse me, ladies.
You're Martin Sheen.
I am.
Who's Martin Sheen?
A guy who's going to help save your family hundreds of dollars on prescriptions with Single Care. Gotta go.
Silver Fox. Mom, what?
Oh, my. Beat the price again. Excuse me, sir. Single Care, this gentleman, please.
Ever since he learned about Single Care, he's been like Robin Hooding it.
Excuse me, folks. Just want to help you save some money.
You can't be back here, Martin.
Sorry. Take just 10 seconds to lower the cost of your prescriptions. Check the Single Care price today.
Breaking down the Biden ticket. Steve Bannon has critical analysis on the 2020 race. Plus, Ron Johnson shares shocking breakthroughs on the Russia investigation. Sunday.
You know the fellow who said you can't go home again? Well, he obviously wasn't from Bishop, Mississippi.
Good to have you back.
He's different down here. It's hard to explain.
This family's part of the deep weave of this place.
It's stunning.
It's cursed.
He's keeping secrets.
Car crash? Call William Attar for the win.
After a car accident, if you miss just one important deadline, you lose.
Call William Attar for the win.
The insurance companies do thousands of claims a week. Don't let your claim fall through the cracks.
Call William Attar for the win. This is your one chance. Make it count.
Call William Attar for the win.
At William Attar, we're focused on one thing: winning the maximum compensation for your car crash case. Hurt in a car? Call William Attar
for the win.
Mr. Attorney General, we're talking about the media. You don't really get a fair break in the media, do you? Plus, we have these citizen reporters who have these videos of these events, which are quite different than what we get a lot of times from the media, which seems to be sort of censoring the violence. No?
Absolutely. They are projecting a narrative. When the word narrative came into currency, I knew we were in trouble, because the word narrative really suggests that there's no objective truth. There's no real story of what happened. It's just everyone has their own narrative. And you get to then the press can justify presenting a story that doesn't really correspond to objective truth, but it's our narrative. We have a narrative, you have a narrative. I've been appalled at what's on this violence because it's happening right out in the streets. Anyone with eyes can see what's happening. They see the violence. They see these groups of agitators in their black outfits, and their helmets and their shields, which incidentally have the hammer and sickle on them most of the time, rushing the police, causing violence, throwing rocks, the people showing up with the rocks and the frozen bottles. That's happening. That's happening in front of people. You don't see it on any of the national news. You don't see it on the networks. You don't see it on the other cable stations. And yet you hear about these peaceful demonstrators. So it's a lie. The American people are being told a lie by the media.
Or maybe you'll see it rarely, so they can cover themselves and say, see that? But if you don't look fast, you missed it. But you're exactly right. I find the best coverage right now are these brave citizen reporters who go in there with their iPhones. Mm-hmm. Some of them get their brains beaten out. Mm-hmm. They get horribly beaten. And sometimes you'll have situations where the mayor has told the police to stand down and they're getting beaten, and nobody's there to defend them. And it's an amazing thing to watch the media here. You would think the media would be defending even citizen reporters with their iPhones and so forth, but they're not. Do you think the media, and I've written about this myself, but do you think the media has become so ideological that it's just utterly unreliable, particularly some of these cable shows?
Well, it's reliable. It's reliable for being partisan nowadays, I think. As you and I know, the First Amendment applied to every individual citizen. This was the day of the pamphlet, and everyone's speech is the same. What we're talking here about corporations that are in the media business, and there are a few of them, and they all pretty much toe the party line. The difference in content in terms of the news reporting is all the same. I like it when Fox goes through some of the reporting of each channel, how they use exactly the same phraseology and same talking points, and that's what you see. It's become extremely monolithic, and it's wedded in many ways to the Democratic Party. It's a partisan press, largely.
There's a recent serious research study a couple of professors put out, I think this week, maybe last week, University of Illinois, that undergirds your point. They say there are these bubbles and these micro bubbles. So tiny is the circle that some of these media folks live in, they have no conception about what's going on out there. For instance, I don't see most of the hosts who are commenting on what's going on in Portland. If you're a news person, I would think you're important. Well, we have a correspondent. No, but you're commenting on it all the time. And not as an opinion person, but as a news person. And then you say it's mostly peaceful. What does that mean? That means in some cases it's not, right? Mm-hmm. So you can have a minority, a number of situations where it's not mostly peaceful. That makes it extremely dangerous. So even the language is kind of odd as far as I'm concerned.
Take the recent example of us trying to address the upsurge in violent crime that has come along with the demonization of police forces. We've seen throughout the city, the major cities, a surge in crime and many, many black deaths as a result. Those black deaths don't seem to matter as much to the people who are proclaiming Black Lives Matter. I believe Black Lives Matter, but I believe all black lives matter. And I also believe that it's not just a matter of protecting their safety from physical harm. It's also providing economic opportunity, which this administration has done. It's also giving them a meaningful education that allows them to seize that opportunity. I think there is systemic racism in this country, but I think the best example of systemic racism that I'm talking about is the educational system, which has relegated our inner city children to schools that are failing and fail them. And the president, as you know, is for school choice, to give put the buying power into the parents of the hands of every inner city kid so they can pick their education. And safety. Safety on the street. You can't have, community life and economic progress without safety. These are the things that we should be providing to the inner city holistically. But the media recently has looked at our efforts to bring some justice to the streets of these communities that are suffering the violence, and then they equate that with what they refer to as jackbooted federal agents going in to crush protesters. They don't, it's either an amazing lack of understanding of what's happening around them, or it's deliberate.
And they don't live there, they don't send their kids there, and they don't shop there.
They buy their way out of every inconvenience.
When we return, I want to ask you about some of the other matters that have been percolating. I'm curious about the Michael Flynn case and how you went about having that looked at again in order to make the judgment that you made. We'll be right back.
Including Voltaren, have one thing in common. None are proven stronger or more effective against pain than Salonpas Patch Large. There's surprising power in this patch. Salonpas. Dependable, powerful relief.
These past few months haven't been easy, but they've reminded us there's no place like home.
Home has new meaning. Home means everything.
You need a loan, Daddy. It's for you.
Helping families with mesothelioma is all we do. My firm has been offering a free book on mesothelioma for over 10 years. Since that time, hundreds of people with mesothelioma have trusted us to represent them. We have local offices throughout the U.S., and there is no risk to you. Mesothelioma really is all we do. Call us at 1-800-333-4485. That's 1-800-333-4485. Or go to mesobook.com.
Hi, can I help you? Sedan, midsize, SUV.
You want to buy a car?
It's a task deal.
Today, son, today!
Come on down, right now.
Never go to a dealership again.
So glad we got it online.
Go to vroom.com, buy a car, and we'll deliver it contact-free.
Sandals Grand Antigua was incredible.
The pool was as large as the ocean.
And the beach was perfect.
We're still raving about the service.
He loved the diving. He'd always wanted to try it.
Our suite was so exotic, it even had a pool.
We dined at 11 restaurants.
All included, just like everything else.
But what I remember most was falling in love all over again. Sandals Grand Antigua. Save up to 65%. Call 1-800-SANDALS.
People across America trust Nutrisystem because we deliver your favorite foods made healthier right to your door. It's convenient home delivery of delicious meals and snacks to help you stay healthy. We're here for you now. Get 50% off a month of meals and 50% off a month of shakes with probiotics to help support your immunity.
Go online or call 888-573-SIZE to save 50% on a month of meals and 50% on a month of shakes.
Hi, I'm Pat, and I'm 75 years old. We live in the mountains, so I like to walk. I'm really busy in my life. I'm always doing something. I'm not a person that's going to sit too long. In the morning, I wake up, and the first thing I do is go to my art studio. A couple came up and handed me a brochure on Prevagen. I've been taking Prevagen for about 4 years. I feel a little bit brighter, and my mind just feels sharper. I would recommend it to anyone. It absolutely works.
Prevagen, healthier brain, better life.
Perhaps you've heard of the Zona Plus. You may have even wondered if it would work for you. I mean, how could this little device have such an impact on something as complicated as your cardiovascular system?
The Zona Plus is a software-controlled handheld device which uses the proven science of isometric therapy to aid in the lowering of blood pressure, naturally.
Believe it or not, it works. It's worked for thousands, and it works for me.
To order your Zona Plus, call now or visit us online.
Good evening and live from America's News headquarters, I'm Jackie Ibanez in New York. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu brokering a deal to establish diplomatic ties with the United Arab Emirates. But the historic agreement not stopping thousands of protesters from marching in the streets calling for his resignation. They're upset at what they call a mismanaged coronavirus response, widespread corruption in the government, and the rising cost of living. Despite that, the protesters do not seem to be a threat to Netanyahu, whose popularity has begun to rebound following the deal. Tune in tomorrow for an exclusive interview with the Prime Minister. He'll appear exclusively on America's News headquarters for the first time since the announcement of the historic peace deal between Israel and the UAE. Check your local listing for details. I'm Jackie Ibanez. Now back to Life, Liberty, and Levin for all of your headlines. You can always log on to foxnews.com. You're watching the most powerful name in news, Fox News Channel.
Attorney General Barr, or as they used to call Ed Meeson, I think they call you General Barr.
Right.
The Mike Flynn case. You decided to have a United States attorney, independent from Washington, independent from everything, by the name of Jensen, to take a look at this case, correct? Tell us a little bit about that process.
Well, that case had been going on. You know, I came in as Attorney General while it was still going on and after he had pled, I believe. But in any event, it was being challenged by his lawyer, and she filed a lot of motions and made a lot of allegations about the government's conduct and so forth, and raised some points.
Sidney Powell.
Yeah, Sidney Powell, and she also raised some points about whether he had effective assistance of counsel because of a conflict of interest and so forth. And I think everyone who knew anything about that case thought it was a bit hinky. The case was sort of hinky. It didn't all add up because the call on its face was a perfectly legitimate call for the incoming national security advisor to make. And so I asked the U.S. attorney at that point, because of all these attacks by the defense counsel on the department's handling of it, to take a look at it. And this is a man who was 10 years an FBI agent, 10 years as a career prosecutor in the department, and a top lawyer in St. Louis, Missouri. And I asked him to take a look at it, and he did. And he found a lot of things that had not come to light before, had not been provided to Flynn or Flynn's lawyer, that showed, for example, that the FBI agents who interviewed, I mean, it showed it clearly that the FBI agents who interviewed Flynn did not think he was lying. Now, this was later minimized in testimony as suggesting, well, they meant he didn't break out into sweat and his eye pupils didn't. They were saying they didn't believe that he thought he was lying at the time. And, various other facts like that about what the real purpose of the interview was, which looked to Jensen as if it was essentially held just to try to, it was untethered to any legitimate investigative purpose. Its sole purpose was to try to get him to lie. So, based on those factors and the fact that I didn't think it met the standards of prosecution of the Department of Justice, I decided to drop the case.
It's interesting to me. How many civil liberties groups supported your decision? ACLU?
No, in fact, none of the defense groups that would normally be jumping up and down here, because one of the arguments being made is, he shouldn't be able to withdraw his plea. Well, most defense lawyers in the country would say that's outrageous. But here, of course, they're silent. This has to do with the rule of law. The people, many of my critics are constantly spouting the term rule of law. They don't know what it means. I don't think they've ever really thought about it. But the rule of law means at its core that any rule you apply to one person, you have to be willing to, and in fact do, apply to the next and the next who is similarly situated. That's an important discipline that protects all of us, because it means anything the government's going to do to me, they're going to be willing to do to someone else in my position. And that means that rules generally, if you really believe that and think about it, it means that rules will be reasonably applied. And that didn't happen. And whenever I've intervened in a case, I don't consider it intervening. I'm the Attorney General, and people are exercising the power of the Attorney General. But whenever I'm supervising a case that I don't think is being handled fairly to the individual, because the individual is being singled out and treated differently, I'll stop that, because that's what the rule of law is all about, and that's what people are essentially complaining about.
Doesn't this get back to your broader point early on that given the times and given what's happened to politics, that even a reasoned decision, one that's based on an independent United States attorney who is a seasoned, really, civil servant prosecutor, seasoned FBI agent, you take that, you apply it, you make a decision. I mean, what if you got all that information and you decided otherwise? Wouldn't that be peculiar?
Yes.
And so you stand up for the rule of law. One of the areas I also want to get into briefly is Russia collusion. And so we have this investigation going on, and you had another independent U.S. attorney who served in Republican and Democrat administrations by the name of Durham out of Connecticut. And he's conducting the investigation. I think it would be helpful for Sylvia, my mother-in-law, and for the whole nation to understand when they say, why aren't we indicting somebody? Why aren't we indicting them today? Do you have the power to indict somebody today or in some kind of clock, or how does that work?
Well, part of the rule of law, as far as I'm concerned, and one thing I want to get back to, is not using the criminal justice system as a political tool. I think it has been in the past. I think the whole Russiagate thing was an instance of that. It was used as a weapon. And what I want to do is make it clear that we will indict people only when we are satisfied that the standards of the department have been met, which means that we believe a crime has been committed by this person and we have proof beyond a reasonable doubt to prove it.
To convict them.
To convict them. And we have to go to a grand jury, and the grand jury has to agree to get the indictment. And proof beyond a reasonable doubt is a high standard. And I think all political sides have gotten into the habit in this country of just sort of saying that their political opponents have done something terrible. They think it's terrible. It's enough for me to conclude he's terrible. Why isn't he in prison?
Let me ask you this. So people, you have a grand jury. What's their job?
Their job is to make the decision, to return a bill of indictment.
You have the U.S. attorney. What's his job?
To present the evidence to the grand jury.
And so they basically will decide if somebody should or should not be indicted. And then you're more or less informed about it and have the final say.
Right.
So you're not the first tier of this. So when people say to you, when is so-and-so going to be indicted, you don't really have a clue until that is really teed up, do you?
That's right. I mean, as you said, John Durham, 35-year veteran of the department, worked for both Republican and Democratic attorneys general on special projects because people have a great deal of confidence in his ability. And he's meticulous, and he is about gathering all the evidence. Now, people lose track of, I think people have to realize that in this process, the witnesses have lawyers. Sometimes they won't talk to you. Sometimes
slows down.
They slow it down. Sometimes they will take the Fifth Amendment unless you give them immunity and so forth. Also, there was a sprawling number of issues to be looked at here, and there are a lot of different conspiracy theories. And part of our responsibility is to look at all of these things so we can assure people that these various theories have been looked at, and so this takes some time.
You think the public has a reason to be angry about, we'll call it the whole Russia collusion stuff, what took place now that we have more and more information coming out on the public record? Forget about probable cause. Public record. We now have testimony that was given by senior officials in the Obama administration to the Schiff Committee that's come out, where not a single one of them believed there was Russia collusion. Mm-hmm. And all these other untoward things with the FISA court. Now we know about Comey conducting activity without telling the Attorney General of the United States. This was a really horrible thing, wasn't it?
Yes, to me it is sort of the doomsday scenario of abuse of government power, which is the party in power uses the police and intelligence services to tilt the field against their political opponents, and that's that's terrible from a governmental and civil rights standpoint. So But the media was part of this, and that's, to me, probably the worst aspect of it. The so-called watchdogs of the system, they became attack dogs. They weren't watchdogs. They had no critical, they didn't use any critical faculties. In fact, things that were clearly preposterous, they took hook, line, and sinker, and they fanned the flames of this worse than anybody else. They all got out on the limb. The limb's been sawed off, but you wouldn't know it. Because there's, they don't even say, whoops, we got that one wrong. They're on to the next conspiracy theory.
And they're not going to give their Pulitzers back either.
No.
We'll be right back.
Looks like they picked the wrong getaway driver.
They'll be paying for this for a long time.
They will, but with accident forgiveness. Allstate won't raise your rates just because of an accident, even if it's your fault.
Cut! Sonny.
Is that good?
Line. The desert never lies.
Isn't that what I said?
No, you were talking about Allstate and insurance.
I just, when I...
Let's try again. Everybody back to one.
Accident forgiveness from Allstate. Click or call for a quote today.
From muscle pain, body aches, to strains, Blue Emu Maximum Arthritis. It works fast and you won't stink. Its unique formula with emu oil penetrates deep to relieve arthritis pain, sore muscles, strains, and more.
I'm so ashamed I overpaid for this used car. I've decided to go undercover.
Remember, if you don't see me, you're not seeing the most accurate price. Shop at Carfax. You won't have to overpay on a used car again. Shop millions of great deals at the all-new Carfax.com.
As a real estate agent, I've learned it's excess moisture that causes musty odors. Pro tip, use Damp Rid.
Damp Rid drop-in tabs attract and trap excess moisture out of the air, eliminating musty odors.
Works every time.
Get rid of dampness.
Damp Rid.
Home is more important than ever. At Overstock, we're committed to delivering on all your home needs. Starting now, everything ships for free. Big or small, Overstock, where quality costs less and everything ships free.
Do you ever have too much stuff to carry and no easy way to carry it? Those days are over. At ScottyVest, we create technology-enabled clothing that looks great, with tons of hidden pockets and unique features you won't find anywhere else. Now, you can easily carry all your stuff hands-free while looking great. Gadget lovers, use our strategically placed pockets for your smartphone, charging cables, face mask, even a full-size tablet. Love the outdoors? Have immediate access to your headphones, sunglasses, keys, even a drink on the go. Never worry about misplacing anything ever again. The uses are endless. There's never been a better time to upgrade your wardrobe with technology-enabled clothing from ScottyVest. Visit ScottyVest.com right now and browse dozens of styles for both men and women. Use the promo code on your screen now for 20% off and free shipping. That's ScottyVest.com, clothes you'll love to live in.
Apps are used everywhere except work. Why is that? Is it because people love filling out forms? Maybe they like checking with their supervisor to see how much vacation time they have. Or sending corporate their expense reports. I'll let you in on a little secret. They don't. By empowering employees to manage their own tasks, Paycom frees you to focus on the business of business. To learn more, visit paycom.com.
At K-12's Destinations Career Academy, I'm one of a growing number of high school students preparing for a great future.
Destinations is tuition-free.
Online and in person. A place where I can get a traditional education with state-certified teachers. And take electives
to explore fields I'm interested in. With Destinations, I'm ready for college, career, or maybe a little bit of both.
These schools may not be for everyone, but they're here for anyone. Anytime, any place. Education for anyone. Enroll today.
Staying home is essential, but some can't do it alone. They need help to stay home and stay safe. They need us, and we need you. Home Instead. Apply today.
Welcome back. Mr. Attorney General, there's been a lot of controversy on these state lockdowns, particularly people of faith who want to go to church, and they see that there's some decisions for casinos and abortion clinics but people of faith or gun owners and so forth. How do you balance this? What do you make of this?
Well, I'm sort of amused because I'm frequently attacked for being an advocate of executive power when it comes to the presidency. And when the president exercises some power, the left will be from. But it seems governors who are executives in each state, they seem to be content with them having unfettered authority. They should have broad authority in an emergency to deal with disease, and and many of the measures were critical to undertake. But the Constitution doesn't take a holiday, neither does civil rights, civil liberties, and they have to be balanced against these measures, and the measures have to be reasonable and tailored to address the government's interest, putting the least burden on rights. That's the correct balance to strike. And guess what? Some governors, I think, have gotten some things wrong over the past 6 months, and sometimes they've been capricious and arbitrary. And when those things happen, we've called it to our attention, and most times they've corrected it voluntarily without us suing. So if they allow theaters and other get-togethers, but then they put stricter limits on church, that's a violation of constitutional rights. The church should not be treated worse than some commercial operation. So, for example, and I was disappointed in the Supreme Court's decision where they knocked down a stay recently because I felt that...
Now, that involved a church raising the question on, hey, how come we have a bigger limitation on the number of people we can have in the church than the casinos?
Right. So they were allowing casinos and commercial operations to have a certain number of people and so forth. And then churches, no matter what the size, I mean, you could have a basilica that could accommodate 1,200 people, and they would still have this one-size-fits-all, just 10 people. Now, we were telling states, and a lot of states went along with us on this because they agreed it was more reasonable, just have a percentage of your fire marshal limitation. If your church can take 200, maybe 20% of that. Don't go with an absolute number because it doesn't adjust for the size of the church. So there's nothing, we were supporting social distancing, but we also oppose these arbitrary rules. Sometimes these rules treated businesses differently without a reasonable basis. So we were calling those instances to the governor's attention, and most times they changed the rule to be more reasonable.
Now, this is covered by the First Amendment.
Mm-hmm.
Like peaceful protests are covered by the First Amendment. But isn't it interesting that people who talk about mostly peaceful protests, many of them are taking the opposite side when it comes from utterly peaceful church gatherings.
Mm-hmm.
They're very silent, and that would include the media, would it not?
Absolutely. Well, this goes back to the there's a lot of hypocrisy today, and this again goes back to this idea of the rule of law. If you are like us, relatively conservative, you try to be disciplined and say, well, if I apply that rule here, I will have to apply it to the next step. We've lost, a lot of people don't think that way anymore. It's like, well, I'm going to do what impulsively I think I like here, and I'll worry about the next case later. I won't try to reconcile them, because when it comes to that next case, I'll do impulsively what I think is right there. We see that more and more in the courts. Not so much maybe with the new Trump judges, but I think there's less of a feeling that, gee, you have to reconcile these different positions because they don't seem, to compute. But that goes back to intellectual consistency as part of the rule of law.
We'll be right back.
Sunday, get the smart insight you need on America's biggest stories. Maria covers it all before the trading week begins on a must-see Sunday Morning Futures, brought to you by Rocket Mortgage. Home loans that fit your life. Rocket can.
We believe in best friends and new friends. At Del Webb, we believe in growth, movement, and the awesome power of the get-together. We believe in beautifully designed homes with innovative floor plans and living exactly how you want to live, surrounded by people who make life better. Del Webb, we believe you'll like it here.
Honey, Mattresses are here.
Setup was super easy.
Yeah.
We get 100 nights to try it. I'll be 10 by then, so I'm out of my own place.
What do you think about moving?
Arizona.
On the beautiful island of St. Lucia, only at Sandals can you stay at one resort and play around at all three. Play around wherever you want. Play around as often as you like. Dine around at 27 gourmet restaurants. Enjoy unlimited rounds on us. Sandals Resorts in St. Lucia. Get 3 vacations for the price of 1. Call 1-800-SANDALS.
Sarah Palin enters Water's World. From her take on the Kamala Harris pick to what it will take for President Trump to win, Jesse has the can't-miss interview tonight.
Real people are realizing there's a better way to mobile.
My carrier probably has a lot of fees I don't even know are there. Basic phone line access, federal universal service charge, I don't even know what that is. Why am I paying these fees?
At Spectrum Mobile, there are no added taxes and fees. What you see is what you pay. $45 a line with our unlimited data plan or $14 a gig with our Buy the Gig plan.
The calculator said that we would save $600 a year. We've actually saved $612 in half a year.
With Spectrum Mobile, I'm saving over $350 a year.
$650 a year. It's true. Most customers who use our calculator find they could save hundreds every year. Don't wait. Find your savings at SpectrumMobile.com or call 844-258-8115 and get it all with free nationwide talk and text and no contracts.
I'm ready to switch.
Get more for less with our unlimited data plan for $45 a line or our Buy the Gig plan for $14 a gig. Plus, get the flexibility to mix and match plans. Visit a Spectrum store. Go to SpectrumMobile.com or call 844-258-8115.
We're shifting into high gear during the final days of the open road sales event at David Chevrolet Buick. Get our biggest savings of the year on our best selection ever. Take up to 15% of MSRP cash back on our most popular new Chevys. New 2020 Buick Encore Preferred, now just $199 a month. Or new 2020 Chevy Equinox LS, lease one for only $229 a month. Don't wait another minute. Hit the road and get to David Chevrolet Buick today. Online at davidcars.com.
After a truck hit me, Selena & Barnes got me $5 million. 5 times more than the insurance company offered.
They got me $2 million, 40 times more than insurance offered.
I'm Ross Salino. Is your worth more than the insurance company says? Call us. You might be surprised.
They figured out that my job accident was worth over $1 million. 35 times what insurance said.
What's your case really worth?
Call us now and find out.
Call 888-8888.
Welcome back, America. Mr. Attorney General, a lot of talk about mail-in votes. We see what goes on in some of these states. It's a little scary. I don't see how more money is going to fix it in the period of 30 days, and more states. I mean, you have some mail-in votes in states, absentee ballots. You're talking about tens of millions now that never took place before. What do you make of all that?
I'm very worried about it. You know, as I said at the beginning, the 2 ways we have resolving disputes in our society and keeping the peace are discussion and voting. Right now we're a very divided country politically. Our elections have been very close. They can turn on one state. They turn on just a few districts. And people have to have confidence in the outcome, or we're going to have real problems in this country. And I think the people who want to experiment with different ways of voting right now, which are predictably, can predictably create problems of integrity, are playing with fire and are grossly irresponsible. Mail-in voting, has been used for people who, in individual cases where they can't go and vote. You go and you apply for a ballot, you get the ballot, you vote. There's no problem with that, especially for states that have been doing that for a while. But the idea that you without any request from the voter, will mail out to your voting list all these thousands and thousands of ballots is scary, because most of those mailings go to a lot of addresses where the people no longer live. They're misdirected. And I think they will create a situation where they could easily create a situation where there's going to be a contested election.
What concerns me, having worked for years at a legal foundation, and we looked at a lot of this, is any attempt to clean the voter rolls. That is, take off dead people, people who have moved and gone in other states, people who are a maiden name and then a married name, is attacked as suppressing the vote, as a systemically racist effort to affect the election. I mean, I've heard this. We've heard this all along. So we know the rolls are not perfect. Mm-hmm. And the post office is going to be mailing to those rolls. We know the post office isn't perfect. We saw what happened in that district in New York. We saw what happened in New York generally with the mail. It was a disaster. We saw thousands of ballots showing up out of nowhere in New Jersey. These are, I mean, if you want test cases, these are test cases. Sure. And to now have potentially 50 or 60 million people vote this way, so why is one party pushing it and not another? You don't have to answer that question. I'll tell you why I think, unless you want to. It's because chaos supports a narrative that the President of the United States doesn't want to leave office, when in fact the President of the United States never said, I don't want to leave office. He said, I'll look at the results in the election and then I'll decide. I mean, it's Biden who's hired 600 litigators, right? Mm-hmm. He's not hiring them just because he wants lawyers. He's hiring them to go into state court and fight every ballot.
Right. And, you know, it's funny, we went and looked back at press coverage of this issue. It wasn't until Trump was elected that the media changed its tune. Before that, the media used to refer to mail-in ballots as, you know, fraught with fraud, or raising questions of fraud or integrity of the vote. It's only recently that they've now made it, you know, doctrinal that there's no issue with mail-in voting.
We'll be right back.
We made USAA insurance for veterans like Liz and Mike, an Army family who's always at the ready. So when they got a little surprise, they didn't panic. They got a bigger car for their soon-to-be bigger family. After shopping around for insurance, they called USAA, who helped find the right coverage for them and even some much-needed savings.
That was the easy part.
USAA insurance has made the way Liz and Mike need it easy. USAA. What you're made of, we're made for.
Why is Old Dominion #1 in customer satisfaction? Maybe it's our over 99% on-time rate, or how we support the dynamic digital marketplace. Our people never stop working to make your shipping easier. Old Dominion, helping the world keep promises.
Constipation can happen all around us. You just need to know where to look. Luckily, there's Colace. It's the #1 doctor-recommended stool softener brand for occasional constipation.
Being a patient with diabetes myself, I can say without question that the Dexcom system is the most powerful tool to help navigate diabetes better on a daily basis.
I love it. I just wear a little sensor and that's it. It's totally painless and private.
The Dexcom sends my glucose readings to my receiver every 5 minutes. I just pull it out of my pocket and look, and I don't have to prick my finger.
Dexcom puts you in control, not your diabetes.
Ready? We don't want to be late. Baby's name is
Stephen Wright. It's Stephen with the PH.
The address is
531 Sage Street. That's just next to City Hall.
Where are my keys? My glasses?
Head.
Wait, how are you doing this?
Focus Factor.
Focus Factor has been clinically shown to improve memory, concentration, and focus. It improves verbal learning and short-term memory by 44%. So get your Einstein on.
Yo! Wow, Dad's on it too.
Focus Factor. Beat your Einstein.
Is shopping for groceries stressing you out? Don't go crazy. Go nuts at nuts.com, your one-stop online pantry shop for nuts, dried fruits, flour, and whole grains, plus organic snacks, sweets, and gluten-free treats, all delivered to your doorstep. A family-run business for almost 100 years, we buy direct from farmers and obsess over our customers. Don't go crazy over grocery store stress. Go nuts at nuts.com. Most orders ship the same day, so check out our selection at nuts.com today.
This month on BritBox, British mysteries reach perfection.
I'm the new chief constable.
Rob Lowe is Wild Bill, and the saintly sleuth is back in brand new Father Brown. All exclusive to BritBox. Watch with a free trial.
Oh my, beat the price again. Excuse me, sir. Single Care this gentleman, please. Stop overpaying. Single Care can help you find the cheapest prices on your medication. All you need to do is download the free app and check the Single Care price today.
Here's the guy who said his trade-in was in perfect condition.
Well,
What do you think?
Well, let's see here. It looks pretty nice on the outside. Look, got a teeny tiny scratch right there, and whoa, game changer. You didn't tell me that you had WeatherTech floor liners?
Of course. I also have the cargo liner and seat protector.
I mean, the carpet looks brand new.
So what do you think of my trade-in now?
It just went up. Way up.
Thought so.
Protect your investment. Order your American-made products at WeatherTech.com.
The Tracker Ox 400, a breakthrough American value starting at $59.99 plus freight. For a limited time, use your club card and receive 0% financing for 12 months on any in-store Tracker boat and ATV center purchase worth $500 or more. After that, your in-store APR will apply.
Welcome back, Mr. Attorney General. It's your second tour as Attorney General. I don't know if we've had many Attorneys General who've done it twice. You glad you've done it a second time?
I'm not sure I use the word glad, but I'm
ecstatic.
I'm content with the decision. I hesitated a long time. I wasn't anxious to go back into government. I was very content with my life, and I was heading toward retirement. But I felt there was a time where, given what was going on in the country, I had to step up when I was asked, and I'm glad I did that. I knew there'd be a lot of ugliness, which is one of the reasons I hesitated, and in some ways it's uglier than I thought. But that is, the people attacking the administration and the idea of the resistance to the administration. But there are parts that have been pleasantly surprising. The president, I think, is an excellent executive and president. There's a robust conversation. He calls on people for their ideas and so forth. I feel that, the decisions that we make are well vetted within the White House, and and my colleagues on the cabinet are, I think very high caliber individuals. So that part of it has been good.
And over a lot of time, the president is nothing like he's portrayed in the media, is he?
Not at all.
Not at all.
No.
Same with my experience. Smart, engaging, charismatic, a lot of fun. And he works tirelessly.
I've never seen such energy. He's always working. He cares about people. I think he enjoys the process of making the country better and work for everybody.
It's been a pleasure having you. Thank you for taking all this time with us. God bless you, and Godspeed.
Thanks, Mark.
See you next time on Life, Liberty, and Levin.
Welcome to Waters World. I'm Jesse Waters. Big show tonight. Sean Hannity, Sarah Palin, and we got a hold of Joe Biden's grades from college. But first, Biden got rolled. That's the subject of tonight's Waters Words. Joe Biden didn't pick Kamala Harris to be VP. That pick was made for him. His hand was forced by three things. When the Me Too movement hit, he buckled and said he'd pick a woman. Then, when the racial unrest went down, he said he'd pick a black woman. And when Biden teetered on that, a heavy-duty letter went out signed by P. Diddy, Van Jones, and other prominent black Democrats demanding Biden pick a black female. That's not all. Biden doesn't have a base. And the Bernie bros not all on board. So he needed to pick a radical liberal also, and that's what he did. If this is how Joe Biden's going to govern this country's in deep trouble. Biden's not a leader. He gets led around on a leash. And that's what the Chinese, the Germans, the Iranians are going to do to Joe if he ever makes it to 1600 Pennsylvania Ave. You know when your significant other tells you everything is fine and you know everything is not fine? That's like what the media is doing here. The media is telling you Kamala is a moderate. They're calling her pragmatic, a centrist, a natural centrist. Now, if the media is telling you a Democrat is a centrist, they're basically Hugo Chavez. They're lying to you, and we'll cover that in a moment. Now, they're also telling you how this is going to energize the ticket. That's also wrong. Kamala, she couldn't even energize Democrats when she ran for president. She hovered around 1% and dropped out before Iowa. And she never caught on with black voters, let alone anyone.
You don't think Joe Biden don't give a about the black vote? Look who he picks as a VP. Kamala Harris that came out and told you guys that she was smoking weed, listening to Snoop Dogg and Tupac when they wasn't even making music then, but at the same time was hitting people over the head in California for simple marijuana charges. Nobody black is voting for Kamala.
But if you listen to the media, you'd think Joe Biden picked Oprah Winfrey herself.
She does have a kind of a charisma. I don't want to use the word celebrity, but in political terms, she does.
I immediately understood why people in California saw her as the female Obama.
She absolutely nailed it. I think this is one of the finest performances I've seen her deliver.
So when you're watching at home, whenever the media tells you something, the opposite is actually true. Here's how electric their chemistry is.
Hi. Sorry to keep you.
That's all right. You ready to go to work?
Oh my God. I'm so ready to go to work.
First of all, is the answer yes?
The answer is absolutely yes, Joe. And I am ready to work. I am ready to do this with you, for you. I'm just deeply honored, and I'm very excited.
Sorry to keep you. What an awkward moment. And Joe had to read from a script when he asked Kamala Harris to be his VP. How scary is that? Look at her right there. And he's holding his phone upside down, too. This is not good. Harris doesn't really have great instincts. She fell for the Jussie Smollett hoax. She fell for the Russia hoax. She fell for the Kavanaugh hoax. So basically, she's perfect for Biden. They both don't have a clue. This is just a power grab by people like Nancy Pelosi, so she can put Adam Schiff into Harris's California Senate seat. A power grab by Hollywood donors who are lavishing loads of cash on Harris. A power grab by big tech who pushed her really hard. In fact, her ex-press secretary is the top cop on Twitter, in charge of banning people like Donald Trump. And as we said before, this is a power grab by the radical left. Power centers the extreme Democratic base. The media tells you this is a safe pick. Total lie. This is a dumb pick, a desperate pick. Biden's the underdog. He's not running away with anything. He's in worse position in swing states than Hillary Clinton was, and she lost every single swing state. Biden needed a big boost with this pick, and he didn't deliver. The danger of Harris is she'll run the show if Biden wins. She's a San Francisco liberal who shouldn't be anywhere near the White House. Her voting record is more liberal than Crazy Bernie. Trump should nickname her Crazier Than Bernie. She wants to get rid of private health insurance and give it to illegal immigrants. She compared ICE agents to the KKK, and she wants open borders. She's an executive order gun grabber, trillion-dollar tax hiker. She's for taxpayer-funded partial birth abortion on demand. She's against fracking, which is the dumbest economic and foreign policy position in 21st century America. She co-signed AOC's Green New Deal and would grind the economy to a screeching halt. She was a runaway prosecutor in California, tied into a dirty lab that framed innocent people. People are sick of prosecutors these days. They're just a bunch of partisan lawyers with God complexes. She abused her power as the California AG, filing frivolous lawsuits against energy companies, and harassed conservative organizations. She doesn't believe in due process. She tried to destroy Kavanaugh's life, a family man, and got caught using fake video. Now, she says she wants to prosecute Trump when he leaves office, but doesn't want to prosecute the looters and the rioters destroying our cities. And the scariest part of all this is that she grew up in Canada. Now, we're going to try not to hold that against her, but that is very difficult. So the race is set. The two tickets are locked and loaded, and I'm feeling more confident than ever before. This pick tells me everything I need to know about Joe Biden, his nervous campaign, and the shape of the race. We're entering the home stretch, and the president is in the strongest position he's been all summer. Here with reaction, Fox News host Sean Hannity, the author of Live Free or Die, America and the World on the Brink. All right, Sean, welcome to one of my two shows. Good to have you here.
Well, everything's your world. It's Water's world. We just are lucky enough to live in Water's world. You know, God's the creator, and everything else is Water's.
That's right. You've been
you're the
following
only guy that can get me to work on a Saturday night. I'm just saying. 80 days.
Hey, listen, I know you need time off because you've been writing this book and you've been doing radio and TV. But let me ask you about how you see the state of the race, because I see Trump surging from kind of some setbacks this summer with the virus and the civil unrest, very sharp attacks on Joe Biden this week are really kind of nailing the whole race down. He's got the virus fading in the Sun Belt to a certain extent. The economy's coming back, and I don't think this pick moved the needle at all. How do you see it?
Look, I listened very closely to your opening monologue. Very well done. All the facts are out there. The fascinating thing to me is historically, and you know this, you have candidates, they'll reach out to their base to get the nomination, then they gravitate or race back to the center. The one exception was Donald Trump. What you see is what you get, what he says, what he believes. His promises were made, and they were all kept for the last 3.5 years. It is now, Joe Biden has now doubled down on radicalism and socialism, and with now the pick of Kamala added to Bernie Sanders plagiarizing his economic plan. He's the economic czar. Okay, then you got the most liberal senator. It wasn't Bernie Sanders. It was Kamala Harris in the Senate. That's who he chose. And Biden is pledging trillions of our dollars to this new Green Deal madness. So it will be what I thought it would be. I never thought it would be this extreme, and that is the single most radical ticket of any major political party ever to run, certainly in my lifetime, but even beyond. And I'll say this, Jesse, and this is really, really important, is I always like to look at elections. We don't know until Election Day or the day after, or if it's 2000 till December or whatever it was, 15th.
Right.
But so I like to think in my own mind, and I have an urgency, because if these policies stated are implemented, everything that has made this country the greatest country God gave man, with the greatest wealth creation ever, that has advanced the human condition, albeit not perfect, but freedom, liberty, capitalism, risk, reward made all of that happen. And it's all in play now, and now even law and order. All of it's in play. And I'll say this, if America's willing to go down that road, I don't even see how we recover. But on the other hand, I can see an America that has a bright, sunny future, and that is following the policies that have gotten us here.
Yeah, and you talk a lot about that in your book, Live Free or Die, which I'm glad you wrote for two reasons. One, I can't wait to read it, and two, it's going to knock Gutfeld off the list, and he really needs an ego check these days because he's totally out of control.
Going to knock who off the list?
Gutfeld. Yeah, I can't stand him on the bestseller list. You got to take him down a notch, Sean. Yeah,
no, he's actually on the list. I debuted #1, and he's got a best-selling book. Why are you going after Gutfeld? Gutfeld
because I love him, and I love to make fun of him.
Cable news story in the country.
I know the 5 is doing well. We're having a great run. Now let me ask you about this, because this just broke on Friday. So you have Durham doing this investigation, and this lawyer, crooked guy, Kleinfeld, he doctored evidence to frame Page to get him wiretapped. He pled guilty now. I guess he's facing some penalty. You had Bill Barr on your show this week, and he was kind of intimating this is the beginning, and we might even get a summary of this conspiracy, this abuse of power. Yep. What are you expecting in the near future?
Look, the Inspector General report took forever, Jesse. I mean, it's just terrible. I mean, the wheels of justice grind slowly. One thing that we do know about Durham is he's thorough. We know that supposedly he's wrapping up. My sources say after Labor Day that we will see more action. I think that the evidence we now have is overwhelming. It's incontrovertible. All of the things that we said happened. Hillary obstruction, Hillary violation of the Espionage Act, although I think she probably will skate free again. The Clintons always do.
They always do.
But then there was Russian interference, but we now know that the FBI knew before the first FISA application was signed in October of 2016. They were warned in August. It's unverified. Steele has an agenda. Clinton paid for it. They swore it was verified. Comey signed that warrant. And Comey then goes to Trump Tower and tells Trump it's salacious and unverified. Well, the problem with that is he's lying, because when he signed the FISA application, it says at the top, verified. So what he said to then President-elect Trump. The problem is that in January of 2017, when you look at the timeline, is that once they got to the subsource, in other words, Christopher Steele's sources,
right.
The subsource said, none of this is verified, none of it's verifiable.
Yeah, it was like drunken bar talk. Right.
Yeah, drunken bar talk. So then they continued with 2 more warrants, subsequent warrants after that. So there's nothing, the evidence is overwhelming, incontrovertible, premeditated fraud on the FISA court. They ruined Carter Page's rights in the process, and they used it to spy on a candidate and then deep into the presidency of Donald J. Trump. There's two things I would like before the 2020 election. I'd like to know what happened in 2016.
Yep.
Everything come to light. And the other thing is, before a vote is cast, I would like to see the ever-forgetful, seemingly frail, fragile, weak Joe Biden debate Donald Trump before early voting starts. Because right now, the way the debate schedule is, the first debate comes after 16 states have started early voting. I don't think a vote should be cast till America sees those two together. So,
yeah, you got to bump that up. And, you know, if Joe wins, heaven forbid, he's going to fire Durham. He's going to clean house, and he's going to cover it all up. So this is how important it is.
100%.
All right, go Live Free or Die. He's standing behind a huge copy of the book right now, but go check it out. And you can still buy Gutfeld's book, too.
By the way, it's 40% off on Amazon.com. I love
What a deal.
You know what I am? I'm a smelly, Trump-supporting Walmart shopper. Save money. It's a great deal.
That's right.
Thanks, Jesse.
Yeah, I think the FBI agent said that. All right, Sean, thanks very much.
Yeah. Thanks.
Joe Biden's college grades came out. Rudy Giuliani and I were going to go over his report card. And later, Sarah Palin enters Waters World to talk about Kamala Harris and media bias.
We've got your back, Road Warriors. Because we know you want to get back to going your speed. Steering life at 10 and 2. You're prepared for this. And so are we. Soon, you'll get back to skipping the counter without missing a beat. Back to choosing any car in the aisle. Back to being the boss of you. Go national. Go like a pro.
The Martins here just realized they outgrew their home, so they used Rocket Mortgage to finance their next one. Need to know if your next home fits your budget and your family? Rocket can.
Sandals Grand Antigua was incredible.
The pool was as large as the ocean.
And the beach was perfect. But what I remember most was falling in love all over again. Sandals Grand Antigua. Call 1-800-SANDALS.
It's here. The moment that will define you. So think of this moment as your moment. The one you've been waiting for. You were built for it. And so were we. WGU, the online university where ambition never rests.
Give you something, make you shake it. It's just another side effect of the happiness that I...
It's a new kind of summer, but it is summer. Find exceptional offers at the Infinity Summer Event and experience Infinity Now. Service, test drives, purchase and leasing that comes to you. Get 0% APR for up to 72 months on all new 2020 Infinity models.
My gums are irritated. I don't have to worry about that. Do I?
Harmful bacteria lurk just below the gum line.
Crest Gum Detoxify, voted Product of the Year. It works below the gum line to neutralize harmful plaque bacteria and help reverse early gum damage. Gum Detoxify from Crest.
Water?
Water tastes like water, so we fixed it. Mio.
An exclusive with Netanyahu. A peace deal between Israel and the UAE makes history. Now, the Israeli Prime Minister joins Fox in his first TV interview since. Tomorrow.
Welcome to the new tomorrow, where it's not enough to do it alone, and working together means going all in. To move forward takes a different kind of technology partner, one who's always in your corner, and who understands that shared goals are the only ones that matter. And providing that kind of partnership is what we're built to do. Spectrum Enterprise.
After
After his car crash, Jamal wanted a lawyer to stand up to the insurance company.
He knew he had one chance to win. Sarah was worried about all the medical bills.
She knew she had one chance to win.
And Jessica wanted to make sure that she and her family were a priority.
They knew they had one chance to win.
So they called William Mattar for the win.
At William Mattar, 100% of our team works on car crash cases. We have the knowledge and experience to win. Hurt in a car? Call William Mattar, 444-4444.
A very disturbing story we want to tell you about in North Carolina. A 5-year-old boy named Cannon Hinnant was playing near his father's house in Wilson, North Carolina on Sunday when a neighbor, Darius Sessoms, walked up to him and at point-blank range allegedly shot him in the head, killing him. Sessoms dashed back to his house and went on the run and was apprehended later that night. There is no known motive for the shooting, but police say they do not believe it was random. Sessoms is charged with first-degree murder and is being held without bond. There was no coverage on ABC, NBC, or CBS Evening News, or on prime time on CNN and MSNBC. The question is, why? Racial violence always leads the news in American media. But this shooting is being buried. We're not showing you this story to inflame you or play up tit-for-tat racially charged crimes. We're just being fair and balanced and want to illustrate how corrupt the mainstream media is. Black-on-black violence does not get a lot of play. Black-on-white violence certainly does not get play, but only white-on-black violence gets round-the-clock coverage on television. Now, this editorial judgment by the media is hurting this country. It's done to divide us for votes, power, and profit, keeps us scared and distracts us. We won't let that happen on Waters World. Our thoughts and our prayers are with the family of little Cannon. Stories like Cannon show just how out of control things have gotten, why we need police, and why we need to show them respect. Seattle Police Chief Carmen Best this week resigning from the force over an overarching lack of respect for the officers.
I'm done. Can't do it. You know, the council gave us $1.6 million to make sure that we hired the best and the brightest and the most diverse and brought them on. And less than a year later, we're going to just turn them all away. It feels very duplicitous. And honestly, I have my convictions. I cannot do that.
Best's decision follows a city council vote to cut funding to her department and reduce the police force by as many as 100 officers. This movement to defund the police picking up as cities across the country are being torn apart by anarchy and lawlessness. Portland's district attorney announcing this week that he's dropping charges against hundreds of violent protesters. And a similar scene in Chicago, where the city's mayor has been accused of emboldening protesters with a lack of consequences. Looters there ransacking shops and even attacking a Ronald McDonald house with sick kids and their families inside. Here's how Black Lives Matter justified the destruction.
I don't care if somebody decides to loot a Gucci or a Macy's or a Nike, because that makes sure that that person eats. That makes sure that that person has clothes. That makes sure that that person can make some kind of money because this city obviously doesn't care about them. Not only that, that's reparations. That is reparations.
Reparations. We've invited Mayor Lightfoot to appear on the show, but she has declined. But the invitation still stands. Joining me now, Chicago Fraternal Order of Police President John Cannizzaro Jr. and President of the Seattle Police Officers Guild, Mike Solon. All right. John, I was saying this the other day on the 5. I think the reason this is happening is because these politicians, they're just looking at Twitter, they're just looking at CNN, they're looking at TV, and they see these looters and the rioters and the anarchists out there, and they actually think these are mainstream Democratic voters. They're not. I don't think a lot of these people that are looting and robbing and shooting are even going to vote. They don't represent the mainstream Democratic Party at all. And if these mayors and governors and even Joe Biden and Kamala Harris would maybe go out and do some retail politicking, hard during the pandemic, but they're not talking to people at diners, they're not doing town halls, they're not doing rope lines, they're not even listening to normal people who would tell them, it's got to cut this out because these cities are being destroyed, John.
You know, I would actually take exception to that criteria used. I think specific to Chicago, a lot of these people who are on the streets protesting, rioting, and looting were a lot of the support base for Mayor Lightfoot when she claims that she had her overwhelming majority of 75%.
This is Lightfoot's base that's out there smashing Macy's stores and shooting people. This is her base, you're saying?
It's a good chunk of it.
Wow. Well, then she needs to wake up and tell her base to knock it off.
Well, but they're not listening to her because she's not far enough left. That's the scary part. That's why they go out and picket her house and protest outside her house in mass, because she's not pushing it far enough, more than they want.
You know, you're going to destroy the city of Chicago. Macy's is already packing up and leaving. Residents are fleeing. You're just going to have a hollowed out town. Used to be great. It's going to have high crime and low revenues, and it's not going to be able to function. Seattle, that's a whole nother story, Mike. You got police chief resigning. I mean, we have the list. Put it up on the screen. There's police chiefs resigning all over the country, but Seattle, I mean, they usually tolerate a nonsense, but, you know, you can only go so far. What's happening out there?
Well, you're absolutely correct. They've gone too far. And evidence of that is that our StopDefunding.com petition, we have 170,000 signatures, mostly Seattle zip codes, who are saying, enough of your unreasonable activism, City Council. Why aren't you governing to the reasonable community in Seattle that support public safety? But you're absolutely correct. They're governing via Twitter. And Twitter is such a small microcosm of our society. But it's, to me, it shows you the lack of respect for the men and women that do this job, that serve this community, but more importantly, it's a lack of respect to the community in general. And I don't know where we go from here, because we're seeing cops night in and night out get hurt. And as this unreasonable activism continues, I don't know where we go here, Jesse. I don't know what the end game is here, because people are fleeing, downtown is boarded up, crime is spiking, and now they've obviously discriminated against an African-American female Seattle police chief.
Yeah, I mean,
but more importantly, they've removed 100 officer positions. Most of them are the new diverse hires. 3 city council members less than a year ago ran on a platform for more funding, more cops. Now they've completely changed tune.
City council out there in Seattle, they're kooks, and they're going to destroy the city. And it'll never be the same, and I agree, there's no end in sight. John, Mike, I got to run. We'll have you guys on again. I appreciate it, all right?
Thank you, Jesse. Good to see you, John.
Thank you.
All right. We just got our hands on Joe Biden's report card from college. Rudy Giuliani is going to look it over, and he is next. Also, Sarah Palin is here to talk Trump and whether the Democratic ticket can trust each other.
Cause you're a sky full of stars. I'm gonna give you my heart.
Tired of clean clothes that just don't smell clean? What if your clothes could stay fresh for weeks? Now they can. This towel has already been used, and it still smells fresh. Pour a cap of Downy Unstoppables into your washing machine before each load, and enjoy fresher smelling laundry for up to 12 weeks.
Cranky-pated, a bad mood related to a sluggish gut. Miralax is different. It works naturally with the water in your body to unblock your gut. Free your gut and your mood will follow.
Do you have any idea how your mattress affects your body and how well you sleep? Is it too hard or too soft, causing you to wake up with sore shoulders, back, or hips? Are you uncomfortable because you're too hot or too cold? Now you can get the total body support you need and the better sleep you want with the new MyPillow mattress topper.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell. When I invented my new MyPillow mattress topper, I made it to have everything you'd ever want in a topper. My mattress topper helps give you the support you need, helps relieve your pressure points, and regulates your body temperature for you as an individual. It comes with a 10-year warranty. You can wash and dry the cover. It's made in the USA, and I back it with my 60-day money-back guarantee.
MyPillow topper delivers on its promise to give me a better night's sleep.
Call now to get your very own MyPillow mattress topper. Use the promo code and Mike will give you 30% off and 2 standard MyPillows absolutely free. Order now.
I personally guarantee it's going to change your bed into the most comfortable bed you'll ever own.
Oh no, you hate coming home to a dark house, and you're uptight about noises outside in the night. Outdoor lighting systems cost a fortune, and leaving lights on all night drives utility bills out of sight. You need the Bell & Howell Bionic Spotlight, the outdoor motion sensor light that is motion activated, so it automatically turns on the instant motion is detected and turns off when the motion stops. Bionic Spotlight is solar powered, so there's no expensive wiring or batteries to change. Simply place it where the solar panel can soak up the sun, and you're done. The panel collects the sun's energy to charge all day, so it has the power to provide light when and where you need it all night. Bionic Spotlight looks just like a professional security camera that is actually a high-tech security light with smart motion sensing technology. Look, the instant the motion sensor detects movement, Bionic Spotlight triggers 8 high-intensity LED lights that shower the entire area with light, covering over 600 square feet. The light stays on for as long as the motion continues, and then shuts off 30 seconds after it stops, so there's no more arriving home to a dark house. Illuminate walkways and stairwells for visitors and guests. Light up your garden at night, or the yard for kids and pets. Add Bionic Spotlight to your sports court and to help secure outbuildings and storage sheds. So you can spend hundreds of dollars on an outdoor lighting system, or you can save hundreds of dollars and get the motion-activated Bionic Spotlight for just $19.95 with free shipping. Bionic Spotlight is year-round outdoor durable and weather-resistant and backed by our 5-year warranty. And if it fails for any reason, return it for a full refund. But wait, if you order right now, you can double the offer and get a second Bionic Spotlight. Just pay a separate fee. You get it all. 2 Bionic Spotlights backed by our 5-year warranty for one low-value price. And the shipping is free. And when you call, ask about the contractor's discount on the complete 6-light home value set. Bionic Spotlight is all you need. It's guaranteed. Here's how to order.
To order, call 1-800-597-2024. That's 1-800-597-2024. Or order online at bionicspotlight.com.
When you can't watch, listen. Get the latest news, business, and news headlines on SiriusXM. Anytime, anywhere. Fox News Audio on SiriusXM. America is listening.
Good evening and live from America's News Headquarters, I'm Jackie Ibanez in New York. Police moving in to disperse a crowd in Stone Mountain, Georgia this afternoon after a largely peaceful protest there turned violent. Dozens of demonstrators waving Confederate flags faced off against counter-protesters, you can see there, many of whom wearing Black Lives Matter shirts. Stone Mountain is home to the largest Confederate monument in the country, and the protest comes as the debate for Confederate monuments rages across the country. A very emotional private service in Houston for Vanessa Guillen. Guillen was an Army soldier who disappeared from Fort Hood April 22nd. Over 2 months later, her dismembered remains were found when police attempted to arrest Aaron Robinson for her murder. Robinson shot and killed himself. Friends and family say they remember Vanessa Guillen for her beautiful life and her tender heart. I'm Jackie Ibanez. Now back to Waters World. For all of your headlines, log on to foxnews.com. Enjoy your Saturday.
The Biden-Harris ticket's a mess. She accused him of flirting with segregationists and believes he has sexually assaulted an intern. That's definitely not the foundation of a good relationship. You can't trust her either. It'll be a dysfunctional train wreck with leaks and backstabbing galore. Trump-Pence should have no trouble taking on these lightweights. Plus, news about Joe Biden's college grades just came out. This from Politico. Biden's own academic career was unimpressive. He repeated the 3rd grade, earned all C's and D's in his first 3 semesters at the University of Delaware, except for A's in PE, a B in Great English Writers, and an F in ROTC, and graduated 76 in his Syracuse Law School, class of 85. But the media says you can't question Biden's mental abilities, and you can't use certain words about Kamala because that's racist and sexist and mean. Biden's still hiding in the basement, and they're both not taking questions from the press. The media tells you the strategy's working, but that means it's not. The media is coddling this crazy ticket because everybody knows they can't hack it in a real campaign. Don't be fooled. This is the weakest ticket in decades, and the president's licking his chops. Joining me now, President Trump's attorney and former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani. Mayor, how much you want to bet that one B he got in Great American Writers was plagiarized?
No question about it. You know, Jesse, I met him 35 years ago. I was introduced to him by a law school classmate of his who was a friend of mine. And before he introduced me, he said to me, you know, Rudy, we should run for the Senate in Delaware because anybody can get elected there. Joe was the dumbest guy in our law school class, but he was so charming. he was able to get his way through law school, even though he plagiarized, he said 4 times.
So
4
charming.
times. He said
Wow.
Joe was
So
always
I never,
looking. He was
yeah.
one of these guys he was always looking over your shoulder, you know.
Was he
cheated
maybe
his way
sniffing
through
the
life,
hair?
and
He
I've been
was
telling-
sniffing the hair when he was looking over the shoulder, probably. Now, what's the deal? You can't even ask the guy a question about it. Like, Reagan was totally eviscerated. McCain's health and abilities were questioned. Trump's abilities were questioned. He had to take a test to shut people up. But you can't even ask Joe if maybe he could possibly be taken advantage of as the nominee or the president?
Well, of course you can. I mean, we give a darn about what those idiots say? Look, the fact is, this is very serious. He wants to have the most important job in the world. He could end the world with pressing a button. Mm-hmm. And the man obviously has symptoms of Alzheimer's and dementia. Now, I have checked that with 5 different doctors. I've gone over the symptoms. I looked at the DSM. That's the doctor's form for it. He's got every one of the symptoms. Even that quick, short loss of temper that you see 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
I don't remember Joe ever doing that before. I said, all of a sudden that he's going to go. He wants to go outside with a guy to have a fight with him. That is typical of. And then forgetting the Declaration of the beginning of the Declaration of Independence. Forgetting it's his wife. These are all symptoms, short-term memory loss,
right,
of having it. So I spoke to 4 different neurologists. One of them said it could be from the 2 aneurysm operations that he had. The other 3 said absolutely not. It is definitely dementia. They said they can't say that unless they examine him. Right. What they can say is this is a guy that has to be examined.
Well, I mean, he said at first that he's being tested every day, and then he denied being tested.
Well, let's see the test.
I don't think he'll ever take that test. Now, so you're not allowed to say Kamala's angry. You can't mispronounce her name. That's mean, even though Joe Biden did. You know, with these rules, Democrats should win every single time, don't you think?
Well, you can call her a dishonest, dishonorable prosecutor and a bully because she prosecuted little people, 1,500 marijuana smokers, but no big marijuana dealers. She went after parents when the kids were truant, but she wouldn't go after the Catholic Church. Big scandal. Her predecessor had developed a lot of evidence of pedophilia. She sat on it, and she was really criticized for it. And when they had a demonstration in front of her office because she wouldn't investigate police officers, she had the protesters, the peaceful protesters, arrested.
Wow.
So I can say all those things. I mean, I can also point out that she was a terrible district attorney. Her homicides in San Francisco went up tremendously while she was DA, the best sign of a terrible district attorney. And that resulted in her plea bargaining cases down. So a lot of criminals went free, including a guy named Broussard, who was quite a notorious character, who proceeded then to kill 2 people, including a reporter. Those people would not be dead if she had done her job. She was a disgrace as a district attorney. And she's a disgrace on the ticket.
It looks like both of these individuals on the ticket have a corrupt past, and we'll see how it shakes out. The first debate just around the corner. Mayor Rudy Giuliani, thanks for joining Waters World.
Good work, Jesse.
Coming up, Sarah Palin has some words of wisdom for Kamala Harris. Can she trust Biden, and can Biden trust her?
Democracy 2020.
It's in your hands.
The party lines are drawn, and the countdown to the presidential election starts now. The 2020 conventions are on Fox News Channel, with the future of our country at stake. Get insight from the team you trust. Only Fox News has complete coverage. Plus, the must-see opinion you won't find anywhere else.
This all-important election, stay with Fox.
America is watching.
Don't miss our special coverage of Democracy 2020.
It's in your hands.
We see you, looking out for all of us. But you can't lose sight of your own well-being, especially if you have a serious chronic medical condition. At Aetna, we're always here to help you focus on your health, because it's always time for care.
What is Beaches? It's a laugh, a smile, something to share. It's precious moments and dreams come true. It's all included, all unlimited, so you can feel like a family again. Call 1-800-BEACHES and save up to 65%.
You sure you can handle? Okay.
I have the power to lower my blood sugar and A1C.
Because I can still make my own insulin, and Trulicity activates my body to release it, like it's supposed to. Once weekly Trulicity is for type 2 diabetes. It's not insulin. It starts acting from the first dose, and it lowers risk of heart attack, stroke, or death in people with known heart disease or multiple risk factors.
Trulicity isn't for people with type 1 diabetes or diabetic ketoacidosis. Don't take Trulicity if you're allergic to it, you or your family have medullary thyroid cancer, or have multiple endocrine neoplasia syndrome type 2. Stop Trulicity and call your doctor right away if you have an allergic reaction, a lump or swelling in your neck, severe stomach pain, changes in vision, or diabetic retinopathy. Serious side effects may include pancreatitis. Taking Trulicity with sulfonylurea or insulin raises low blood sugar risk. Side effects include nausea, diarrhea, vomiting, belly pain, and decreased appetite, which lead to dehydration and may worsen kidney problems. We're committed to helping ensure Trulicity is available and affordable. Learn more at Trulicity.com.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and as you know, my passion is to help each and every one of you get the best sleep of your life. That's why I created my new Giza Dreams bed sheets. I started by using the world's best cotton called Giza. It's only grown in a region between the Sahara Desert, the Mediterranean Sea, and the Nile River. It's ultra soft and breathable, but extremely durable. My Giza sheets also include full 21-inch wide pillowcases that will fit over any pillow and deep pocket sheets that will fit over any mattress. The first night you sleep on my sheets, you'll never want to sleep on anything else.
Go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen right now to get your very own MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets. Giza Dream Sheets are available in a variety of colors. Use the promo code and Mike will give you 2 for 1 low price and free shipping. That's right, get 2 for 1 low price plus free shipping.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.
Cover it up. That's what I did when I started losing my hair. Then I realized I could actually do something. Now I use Keeps, the easiest way to keep my hair. And it only costs $1 a day, which means no more covering up. Get started at Keeps.com.
Hey, I'm Nick. We created Gabby because most people overpay for car insurance. Gabby is a free tool that saves you money by finding the best deal. Gabby saves users over $800 a year on average. Go to Gabby.com and stop overpaying for car insurance.
It's here. The moment that will define you. So think of this moment as your moment. The one you've been waiting for. You were built for it. And so were we. WGU, the online university where ambition never rests.
I hosted a very special call with 2 friends, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu of Israel and Crown Prince Mohammed bin Zayed of the United Arab Emirates, where they agreed to finalize a historical peace agreement. Everybody said this would be impossible.
The Trump administration helping to broker a historic Mideast peace deal between Israel and the Gulf states. But what does this actually mean? And what does it mean for America? Joining me now, geopolitical analyst and author of Disunited Nations, The Scramble for Power in an Ungoverned World, Peter Zion. Peter, your book predicted this, so that's why we're having you on. I'm going to try to encapsulate your theory. You just tell me if I have it accurate. The Cold War ended 30 years ago. Soviet Union collapsed. So the world order that we put in place, we protect the free flow of oil out of the Mideast, free trade in exchange for market access to America and security deals against communism. That's unraveling now. America's pulling back, and now the Mideast states are scrambling because who knows what comes next, right?
Absolutely. The security parameters that has allowed these countries to exist is now gone. And what we're seeing out of the UAE and other states in the Gulf is they're starting to find their own way. Now, for the United States, this is both fantastic and a little awkward. Fantastic in that we don't have to protect them anymore. The oil markets are their problem. Dealing with their customers is their problem. Dealing with Iran is, for the most part, their problem. And a partnership with Israel makes sense. We like that. But it also means they're going to make decisions that we don't really care for. If you're going to dictate events in a region, you kind of have to have 100,000 troops in theater. We don't want to do that, which means we're going to see a lot of news out of this region, a lot of developments, a lot of choices that we might have steered in a different direction if we had stuck around.
So America is pulling back from the Mideast in terms of basing, in terms of deployments. We don't need the oil from the Saudis. We have plenty of oil here because of the shale revolution, as you talk about in one of your other great books. So as we pull back, we're self-sufficient, right? We have troops here in America. It's a good thing. Both parties like this.
No, exactly. This is very strongly bipartisan and even involves most of the wings of most branches of both parties. There really isn't anyone in the United States who wants to maintain the global system in its old form. Everyone wants to bring the troops home. Everybody wants a smaller footprint. Everybody agrees that the United States should have a smaller role in international affairs. We're all good on that. The complication comes 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the road as other powers start putting their nose into the region and countries like the UAE start backing forces or allying with forces that we probably aren't big fans of. So something to keep in mind. All the Gulf states, Qatar, the UAE, Saudi Arabia, all of them are big supporters of groups like ISIS and Hamas. That's not something we've been thrilled with, but we needed to turn our eyes away from that in order to deal with bigger issues such as the war in Iraq or dealing with Iran more recently. This region is about to become a lot more complicated, a lot noisier, and from our point of view, a lot more difficult to understand.
All right. Well, we can understand it from our shores, hopefully.
Absolutely.
Peter Zion, check out his book. He knows what's happening 10, 20, 30 years from now. Thanks, Peter.
My pleasure.
Sarah Palin on deck, a Waters World exclusive.
Yeah, all I do is win, 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 no matter what. Got money on my mind, I can never get enough. And every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up, and they stay there.
We've got your back, Road Warriors. Because we know you want to get back to going your speed. Steering life at 10 and 2. You're prepared for this. And so are we. Soon, you'll get back to skipping the counter without missing a beat. Back to choosing any car in the aisle. Back to being the boss of you. Go national. Go like a pro.
Ready or not. Gillette ProGlide and ProGlide Gel. 5 blades and a pivoting flex ball designed to get virtually every hair on the first stroke while washing away dirt and oil. So you're ready for the day with a clean shave and a clean face.
No! Wrong move! Old-fashioned bandages get dirty. They can let in water and germs. Look, it's falling off! New Skin is the flexible liquid bandage that seals out the bad stuff. There's a spray, too!
New Skin. Rethink how you heal.
Your house brought you together. Like, really together. And although together is great, together with more space is better. With Rocket Mortgage, you get personalized loan options, closing costs, and tax estimates all in real time. So when you need to know what it takes for a home to fit your budget and your family, Rocket can. Who is Kamala Harris?
She's not moderate. She's not a pragmatist like the New York Times and the others are trying to tell you.
Mark's guests on what the mainstream media won't reveal about the VP pick on Life, Liberty, and Levin.
This summer, get back in the driver's seat. Your Honda dealer is open and ready to get you into a new Honda today. like the versatile HR-V or the fun-to-drive CR-V. Visit the Honda Summer Clearance Event and get a great deal from Honda, KBB.com's 2020 Best Value Brand. Get a great deal on the HR-V at the Honda Summer Clearance Event today.
When a serious car crash strikes, you need help from someone who knows what they're doing. That's why at William Attar, all of our attorneys focus on car crash cases. We've handled thousands of cases in the Buffalo area, and we offer every client our no-fee guarantee. If we don't win, you don't pay us. Focus, experience, and the no-fee guarantee. Call William Attar for the win. Hurt in a car? Call William Attar, 444-4444.
Millions of people are saying yes to Allegra, including the experts. It's the #1 allergist-recommended brand for non-drowsy relief. Allegra works 2 times faster than Claritin, and while Zyrtec may cause drowsiness, Allegra won't. Say yes to Allegra.
Try Allerlife Wellness and Immunity Support. It's designed for allergy sufferers like Allie. She often felt tired and run down. Then she added Allerlife Energize, a unique blend of vitamins and herbs for immune support. Plus caffeine, it helps put a pep in her step. Allerlife, more life, less blah.
What is your lotion wish? I want coconut oil,
Cocoa butter, shea butter.
and no more reapplying. We listened. Gold Bond Radiance Renewal gently exfoliates, then our triple blend of moisturizers helps prevent dry skin. Gold Bond. Ultimate lotion, ultimate skin.
She treated Joe Biden worse than anybody else. I watched those debates. She treated Biden worse than anybody else by far. There was nobody, including Pocahontas, nobody treated Biden so badly as Kamala.
President Trump pointing out some major trust issues between the Democratic ticket. Kamala Harris making history this week, becoming the first Black and Indian American woman on a presidential ticket, and only the 3rd woman nominated to run for the office of the vice president, following Geraldine Ferraro and, of course, Sarah Palin. Palin put politics aside and shared with Harris some advice that she learned from her 2008 run, like keep your team with you, don't get muzzled, and, of course, have fun. Here is Sarah Palin herself. I love the backdrop, Governor. This is this your dock right here we're looking at?
Yes, this is my backyard, and yeah, I'm very blessed to get to wake up to this every morning.
Beautiful, beautiful God's green earth. All right, so you went through the VP experience, and you're seeing now a ticket that could have some trust issues based upon maybe Biden didn't want Harris as VP. Harris said some nasty stuff about Joe, and a lot of Democratic voters don't even think that Joe's going to finish the first term. How would you assess this ticket?
Well, it is a strong, a different kind of combination when you consider what was said in the primary. Kamala, you say tomato, I say tomato. I hate to say the name wrong because I'm going to get clobbered for that.
Yeah, they say that's inappropriate if you mispronounce her name. Exactly. I think it's Kamala.
Like anybody does that on purpose. We don't do that on purpose. Anyway, it's strange combination just because if you consider what they said about each other for months and months and months, she kicked the crud out of Joe Biden in the primaries, and then they hook up as buddies. That always just kind of cracks me up. It's like the illustration of politics that people, they just shake their heads at, roll their eyes and say, God, come on, you guys.
Right.
Where's the sincerity?
They both hate each other, but they love power even more. So, when you were the nominee for VP, some people in the media didn't treat you fairly. But now Kamala Harris getting fawning coverage in the media. How does that make you feel?
Well, I don't know if it's so much a gender thing as it is if you're conservative, you're going to get beat up. You just are. It's like what Trump faces all the time. It's 3 against 1. You have the Democrat Party, you have the media, and you have the rhinos in your own party that are always trying to clobber you. I'm no different than any other conservative, I think, in offering myself up to serve the people. We expect it. I expect it, and you just deal with it, and it makes you work harder.
That is true. It's a vicious world out there. So you now have, I don't know, we're close to Labor Day. This thing's kicking into high gear pretty soon. How would you suggest the Trump ticket define themselves, define their success, and also attack Biden-Harris?
Easy. You let their words do the talking. The things that they've said about each other. Is Biden a sexist, racist, all these other things that Ms. Harris says that he is, and vice versa, their criticisms. But even more than that, a candidate's view of the future, you can ratchet it down to what their view of government's role is in itself. Both the candidates on the very, very liberal side are so much proponents of big government that they can't trust the wisdom of the people to make our own decisions for raising families and running businesses and how we want to live our lives. They want to control people. So when you look at the other side of the ticket's record and it reflects that kind of philosophy, it speaks for itself. So what I would hope that President Trump and his team will do is not get into the personal, petty type stuff. Just stay focused on what their record is. It speaks for itself. They're so extremely liberal. I mean, I can't stress that enough. People just need to do their own homework and find out what their record is and what their view of the future is under a pretty much, I guess you could say, the socialist / Marxist view that they desire. Let their record speak for itself. And here, of course, Joe Biden, what he's been in office for, decades, 47 years or whatever it is, all those years with chances to be effective and efficient and really usher in positive change in the country. And yet, he hasn't done it. And now he's campaigning on the idea of elect me and this is what I want to do. Well, he's had 47 years plus to already do it. And his record reflects that he didn't do it.
All right, Sarah Palin from her beautiful backyard in the state of Alaska. I'm very jealous. I'm here in a studio in Manhattan, and look at you. You must have done something right. God bless you. And thanks for coming on Water's World. We miss you and love hearing your voice, Governor.
Thank you. You are so kind. Appreciate it. Have a great day.
You too. Do not feed the bears. The shocking video in Last Call.
Something make you shake it. It's just another side effect of the happiness that
It's a new kind of summer, but it is summer. Find exceptional offers at the Infinity Summer Event and experience Infinity Now. Service, test drives, purchase, and leasing that comes to you. Get 0% APR for up to 72 months on all new 2020 Infinity models.
Sing it on. Cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Sing it down, baby. About it. Cause every little thing is gonna be alright. This is my message to you.
Call 1-800-SANDALS.
I wanted to start dating again, but I didn't know where to start. Silver Singles made it easy for me to get back into dating.
Over 1 million singles trust Silver Singles to get back into dating. Signing up is easy. Start your search today at silversingles.com.
Do I use a toothpaste that whitens my teeth or one that's good for my teeth? Now I don't have to choose.
Crest 3D White. It removes up to 95% of surface stains and strengthens enamel. From the #1 toothpaste brand in America, Crest.
It's so hard to sleep when it's hot, impossible to work, and even uncomfortable to relax. You need a fan, but they're bulky, awkward, and never put the breeze exactly where you want it. Introducing my fold-away fan from Bell & Howell, the compact cordless fan that unfolds into your own personal wind machine and extends to nearly 4 feet high. Amazing! Forget plug-in fans that never reach. This rechargeable lithium-powered fan goes anywhere you need it with a charge that lasts up to 10 hours. And oh yeah, it has power, enough to blast a breeze to the other side of this room. Now that's some wind. At an ultra light than ever to have a personal targeted breeze inside or outside in just seconds. Plus, this whisper quiet fan has 3 separate speeds, so set it on low to stay cool while watching TV, or use it on the patio to battle the summer heat. Crank it up to high for a refreshing breeze in the kitchen. And it's so portable. Use it to chill down outdoor activities like gardening, fishing, or even camping trips. Plus, with a unique telescoping stand, you can place it on the floor so the breeze will easily reach atop the bed, across the top of the dinner table, or even over your work desk at the office. Then the whole thing folds away for easy storage. There's never been another fan like it.
I've never seen anything like this. It's so compact and it magically unfolds into a full-sized fan.
It's portable and rechargeable. I can take it anywhere.
Other fans sell for over $100, and they're not rechargeable. But get my fold-away fan from Bell & Howell for just 2 payments of $19.99. It comes with the USB cable to make charging fast and easy, plus our 90-day warranty. My fold-away fan, the ultra-portable, compact, and rechargeable fan that will keep you cool anywhere. Call or click now.
To order, call 1-800-720-7956 or go to myfoldawayfan.com. That's 1-800-720-7956, or you can order online at myfoldawayfan.com. Order now.
Water?
Water tastes like water, so we fixed it. Mio.
This is it, the stage where the biggest political moments are made, where you can get coverage of the DNC all day and all night. Plus, the fierce talk about every move being made. Complete coverage of the Democratic National Convention starts Monday at the Place for Democracy 2020, Fox News Channel.
Yogi Bear, is that you?
Oh my God. He's making her a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
That's just a black bear crashing a picnic. He's just seen casually sharing some sandwiches and snacks and posing for some selfies with some family that was camping in Maryland. And as far as I can tell, it's all the bear ate. We hope. Bears are terrifying. But then again, most animals scare me.
Whoa, get away. Okay. All right. Okay.
Look.
Okay. That's good.
Now I know why the producers wanted to air that video so much. Thanks, guys. That's all for tonight. Be sure to follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Justice with Judge Janine is next. And remember, I'm Waters, and this is my world.
Shaved her legs and then he was a she. She says, hey, babe, take a walk on the wild side. Said, hey, honey, take a walk on the wild side.
Hello and welcome to Justice. I'm Judge Janine Pirro. Thanks so much for being with us tonight. Let's get right to my open. You're being conned. The biggest fallacy in America today just might surprise you. The truth is the divide in this country is not about right versus wrong or law and order versus chaos. Quite simply, fundamentally, it's about the left versus the right. You know, there was that moment after the killing of George Floyd when all Americans came together and said never again. The legitimate and constitutionally protected protests in support of Black lives were hijacked by left-wing progressives determined to create chaos and ultimately take down America as we know it. Almost immediately, they pounced. The police are racist. There's systemic racism in their departments, which need to be defunded, destroyed, burnt down, or reimagined, if you will. They burn down businesses owned by people of all races and ethnicities. Remember, there's a difference between the movement Black Lives Matter and Black Lives Matter, the organization, which is Marxist and justifies the taking of others' property and declares the nuclear family unnecessary. And just this week, the anarchy of the left continued in Chicago, where I lived for 3 years, where luxury stores on the Magnificent Mile, Michigan Avenue, were looted by criminals, justifying their destruction and thievery.
I don't care if somebody decides to loot a Gucci or a Macy's or a Nike, because that makes sure that that person eats. That makes sure that that person has clothes. That's reparations. That is reparations. Anything they want to take it.
These rioters were heartless, breaking windows as they attempted to break into a Ronald McDonald's house where petrified children with cancer were inside. And finally, Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot, with one of the highest crime rates in the nation, where a weekend visit to the South Side is an invitation to be a victim of or a witness to a shooting, finally admits.
These were not poor people engaged in petty theft to feed themselves and their families. This was straight up felony criminal conduct.
Thereafter, the mayor, who refused to allow President Trump to send help, admitted that the core of what happened, what she herself called organized criminal activity, was a planned attack. You just figured that one out, Mayor? And the latest, some radicals are not just coming to your city, they're coming to your house saying they want your house. And it's not just the McCloskeys in St. Louis. Take a look.
Give up your house, give black people back their home. Thank you. You're sitting there comfortably as if you didn't have gentrify this neighborhood. I used to live in this neighborhood. But I used to live in this neighborhood. I grew up here and my family was pushed out. Yeah. And you're sitting up there having a good time with your other white friends.
So here we are, 81 days since the death of George Floyd, still reeling from the violence. And ironically, 81% of African Americans want police restored to their communities, even increased. They are petrified because they know what they face without law and order. Yet the left remains virtually silent, apparently satisfied with the status quo. So, if 81% of African Americans don't want police defunded, and 74% of Republicans want this violence ended, who is in favor of it? What politicians on the left have decried what is happening as America's babies are being massacred, like 1-year-old DeVell Gardner in a stroller at a barbecue, shot and killed, and 4-year-old Legend Taliaferro sleeping in his own bed in his own house, shot and killed, 7-year-old Chloe Robinson walking hand in hand with her dad until he is shot dead, 5-year-old Cannon Hinnett shot in the head while riding his bicycle. Where is the outrage on the left? Where is Bunker Biden? Where is Nancy Pelosi? Where is his new sidekick, Kamala Harris? Folks, it's the left that's resisted efforts to quell the chaos and return our cities to places of economic and residential prosperity. It is the left that is refusing to call on the feds to stop the chaos. It is the left that has been telling you that you have to stay home and that you can't go to work, fining business owners or removing their licenses. Remember, it is the left that defunded the police. It is the left that said, let them blow off steam as they pillaged and plundered businesses and neighborhoods. It is the left that watched as both black and white lives were lost or ruined. If I'm wrong, tell me what the left has done to stop any of this. It's the left that promoted bail reform, a euphemism. No, they actually pulled the wool over your eyes. It wasn't reform. It was let the perps out of jail as soon as the police finished their paperwork. And if that isn't bad enough, DAs like Cy Vance in Manhattan and John Hummel in Oregon refused to prosecute protesters. Vance wants protesters to be witnesses against the cops who arrested them. Hummel tweeted how disgusted he was by the United States government and ICE, and how proud he was of his community, who for 12 hours blocked a bus, removing 2 illegal criminals, each previously deported, each with domestic violence convictions. So, if you like the left and their behavior, you'll love Kamala Harris, the most liberal progressive in the United States Senate, with a record left of even Bernie Sanders. She supports repealing criminal penalties for immigration crossings. She slashed military funding. She, too, is coming for your guns and laughs at the idea that the Constitution prevents her from doing so. Once a DA, Kamala is helping raise funds to bail out looters who stole and destroyed properties. I guess she changed her stripes. They want fear, panic, chaos, division, and learned helplessness. They are on the left. The left's mayors and governors tell Black Lives Matter protesters and anarchists, this is your moment in history. Go for it. Have at it. Protest as much as you want. This is nonsense. Americans are afraid. Not only are gun sales through the roof, sales of body armor are up 80% due to the unrest. People are afraid. You too need to be afraid. Afraid for yourself, your family, and your country, especially those who want to confiscate your gun. You have 79 days to decide. What do you want? Do you want the freedom to do what you want, to go to church, the freedom to walk on the street without worrying about being accosted or worse, the freedom to go to a gym, a restaurant, a bar? Well, then the decision is an easy one. If you like America today, Bunker Biden and Kamala are just the couple for you. They remain silent and allow, indeed, support the anarchy destroying our country and our history. President Donald Trump, who believes in the freedoms that started this country and have brought us to the height of prosperity, is one who will speak for us, a man willing to fight to make this nation the image of the one our founding fathers intended. You have a decision to make. And that's my open. Let me know what you think on my Facebook and Twitter, #Judge Jeanine. And if you like my opens, you're going to love my new book, Don't Lie to Me. Available for pre-order on Amazon and anywhere you pre-order. Here now with reaction to my open and much more, senior advisor to the Trump 2020 re-election campaign and President Trump's daughter-in-law, Laura Trump. All right, Laura, thanks for being with us this evening.
Oh, thanks for having me, Jeanine. Always great to be with you.
All right. So Joe Biden picks Kamala Harris, and we're told that we have to be sure to pronounce her name properly. Does the choice of Kamala Harris bring any change to the president's strategy vis-a-vis the campaign?
Well, I would remind everybody that it is still Joe Biden, old slow Joe, at the top of that ticket, Jeanine, and that is what ultimately matters. That is the person, I'll remind the mainstream media, who went into overdrive with a love fest of sorts for Kamala Harris whenever it was announced that she was the vice presidential running mate of Joe Biden. It's still Joe at the top of the ticket. So our strategy has always been to remind people about the incredible job that this president did with his first 3.5 years in office, the record highs we saw in the stock market, the record lows in unemployment, the fact that in January we had a million more jobs and we even had people to fill them. As we come out of coronavirus, who between these two men do people think can do the only job that we have to do is get our country back up and running? Donald Trump's the only person to do that. And I have found it very interesting that the mainstream media and the people on the left think that the women in this country, Judge Jeanine, are stupid. Apparently, they forgot that the identity politics they tried to play in 2016 when they suggested that women should vote for someone named Hillary Clinton because she was a woman didn't work then. It's not going to work now. I, for one, was insulted when months ago Joe Biden came out and he said, guess what? It's going to be a woman who's my running mate. Let's not worry about qualifications. Let's not worry about what they bring to the table. If these people want to stand up for equality, people in this country will never be fully equal in their eyes until they stop pandering for votes and playing identity politics. So it didn't even matter who it was going to be. Women in this country were already insulted.
Well, you know, it's interesting when you say it doesn't matter what the qualifications are, because the way the world is now, and you heard it in my open, I mean, you know, her qualifications as a DA, as an attorney general, certainly would work against Joe Biden and the leftist progressives who are in favor of all of this anarchy. But I take it from your answer that the president is going to deal with Joe Biden, but if the first debate is not until the end of September and 16 states start voting a month before, do you think that Biden, or is there any discussion about even having a possible debate before September 30th?
Oh, we would absolutely love another debate, or to move that debate that you're mentioning, the first debate, earlier, because you're right, Judge Janine. People in this country, the state of North Carolina, my home state, starts voting via absentee ballot on September 4th. So of the 16 states you just mentioned, around 8 million people could possibly cast a vote for the president of the United States without seeing either of these two men face off on a stage. And I think everyone watching knows that when Joe Biden takes the stage with President Donald Trump, it is going to be game over. People are going to fully see that this man does not have all of his faculties about him. They're going to fully see that the radicalization of Joe Biden and the Democrat Party is complete, that he is a full-blown socialist. Don't forget, he signed on with the man himself, who is the socialist dream, Bernie Sanders. He signed on to their Unity Manifesto with this guy. And so you will be able to see that on stage. But unfortunately, the Democrats are trying to keep Joe locked away in the basement. They don't want him out on the stage because they know it would be a sudden death for him, because Donald Trump would mop the floor with Joe Biden. So we would love to have another debate. We'd either have a fourth one or move that first one earlier. Absolutely, we're working on it from the campaign.
Well, what's interesting is the 3 times that we've seen him since he announced the VP pick, and then after, where they signed the papers, and then when he talked about the mask mandate, the press was shooed away so that he couldn't answer questions. It is amazing how much they're hiding. Anyway, Laura Trump, we look forward to that debate should it happen. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
All right. And here with more reaction to Biden's VP pick and what a Biden-Harris White House would look like for America, former Arkansas governor and Fox News contributor Mike Huckabee, who joins me now. All right. Good evening, Governor. You were on that stage with President Donald Trump when he was just citizen Donald Trump. How do you think Joe Biden's going to do? And do you think Joe Biden actually will debate Donald Trump?
I don't see how he gets out of it, but I'm going to tell you something. Joe Biden is not prepared to stand on the stage with President Trump, who is an extraordinary debater. In large measure, Judge, he is fearless. He goes into that debate with a sense of reckless abandon. And I think that's why Joe Biden probably wants to find a way to not do it, but he's got to do it, and it's not going to be a pleasant evening for Joe Biden.
Well, you know, I recall, Governor, when Hillary Clinton was running, her staff kept the press away from her with these ropes. I don't know if you remember that. I just remember thinking she's the queen and they must keep the population away from her. I'm getting the same feeling with Joe Biden that, you know, when they shooed people away, I think it was yesterday when they tried to get him to explain the mask mandate and what it meant, that they have no intention of letting him speak.
Well, they don't want him to speak, because every time he does, he just opens his mouth to change feet. And that's not a good look for a guy who wants to be president. But if you watch him, he looks like he's always squinting, like he's somehow trying to find the words. And then when he speaks, you realize he didn't find them. He's still looking. I mean, in the very day that he's announcing his vice presidential pick, he mispronounces his own pick's name, after some of those people on the left were giving Tucker Carlson all kinds of fits because they said he intentionally mispronounced Kamala Harris's name. You can't make this stuff up.
No, you can't. But, you know, they become outraged over so much. You know, with respect to the potential debate and the prospect of Joe Biden being going against Donald Trump, do you think that there's a school of thought that maybe he doesn't need to debate? He's winning now, they think, according to these polls. So, the COVID might be so dangerous in the fall that he can't risk it. I really think there's a possibility of that. Do you think that?
I mean, I'm sure they would love to be able to find an excuse not to do a debate, but whatever he does that avoids that kind of direct mano-to-mano moment is going to make him look like he is incapable of standing up to President Trump. Well, if he can't do that, how's he going to stand up to the leaders around the world and stand up to China like the president has done? Our president has stood up to NATO. He stood up to China. Nobody else has ever done that. He stood up to North Korea. He stood up for America. And he stood up for our jobs. He stood up so that women and minorities have better jobs. And he stood up for law enforcement. You got another side, and honestly, I think they want us all to be our own police department, which is what we're going to have to be if Joe Biden and Kamala Harris get into office, because while they want to defund the police, they also want to disarm the public. So if you're the victim of a home invasion or a carjacking and you're waiting on the police, you're going to die. I mean, they're just not going to be able to get there because there's not going to be enough of them there. So this is why, if you don't want to be your own police department, by gosh, you better vote for President Trump and Mike Pence.
All right, Governor Huckabee, thanks so much for being with us tonight.
Thank you.
And Dan Bongino, Leo Terrell, and Herschel Walker are all still ahead tonight. But next, should President Trump get the Nobel Peace Prize after this week's historic Mideast peace announcement? Congressman Doug Collins and Darrell Issa talk about that and more next.
When it comes to buying a home, they say cash is king. But you're a queen, and that's just as powerful. You're armed with a verified approval from Rocket Mortgage. Sellers know your offer is good, so your bid has the strength to compete with cash offers. Now grab your crown and rule. That castle is yours. So when you need an edge in the bidding war, Rocket can.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and as you know, my passion is to help each and every one of you get the best sleep of your life. That's why I created my new Giza Dreams bed sheets. I guarantee you they'll be the most comfortable sheets you'll ever own.
With the Giza Dream Sheets, I'm getting the best sleep of my life. They are so soft and smooth. I never slept so good.
I fall asleep faster because I'm actually comfortable.
I started by using the world's best cotton called Giza. It's only grown in a region between the Sahara Desert, the Mediterranean Sea, and the Nile River. It's ultra soft and breathable, but extremely durable, which is why I can give you my full 10-year warranty. But I didn't stop there. My Giza sheets also include full 21-inch wide pillowcases that will fit over any pillow and deep pocket sheets that will fit over any mattress. I guarantee you the first night you sleep on my sheets, you'll never want to sleep on anything else.
Go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen right now. MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets are available in a variety of colors and will be the softest, most comfortable sheets you will ever own. Use the promo code and get 2 for 1 low price, plus free shipping. Giza Dreams are made with the finest, most sought-after cotton in the world. Giza cotton was once reserved for only the finest dress shirts, but is now available in Mike's Giza Dream Sheets. They feature a beautiful silky sateen weave that helps keep you cool and comfortable all night long.
With the Giza Dream Sheets, I'm getting the best rest of my life.
I love my Giza Dream Sheets. Go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen right now to get your very own MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets. Use the promo code and Mike will give you a very special 2 for 1 low price and free shipping. That's right, get 2 for 1 low price and free shipping. Call or go online now.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.
An exclusive with Netanyahu. A peace deal between Israel and the UAE makes history. Now, the Israeli Prime Minister joins Fox in his first TV interview since. Tomorrow.
Real people are realizing there's a better way to mobile.
My carrier probably has a lot of fees I don't even know are there. Basic phone line access, federal universal service charge, I don't even know what that is. Why am I paying these fees?
At Spectrum Mobile, there are no added taxes and fees. What you see is what you pay. $45 a line with our unlimited data plan or $14 a gig with our Buy the Gig plan.
The calculator said that we would save $600 a year. We've actually saved $612 in half a year.
With Spectrum Mobile, I'm saving over $350
$650 a year.
$650 a year.
It's true. Most customers who use our calculator find they could save hundreds every year. Don't wait. Find your savings at SpectrumMobile.com or call 844-258-8115 and get it all with free nationwide talk and text and no contracts.
I'm ready to switch.
Get more for less with our unlimited data plan for $45 a line or our buy the gig plan for $14 a gig. Plus, get the flexibility to mix and match plans. Visit a Spectrum store. Go to SpectrumMobile.com or call 844-258-8115.
From new Russia probe developments to the president's announcement of a historic Israel-UAE deal, a lot to discuss with my next guest, Georgia Congressman Doug Collins, former congressman, and candidate Darrell Issa, both on the ballot this November. Congressman Collins, I'm going to start with you first, and then I'm going to go to former Congressman Issa. Significant developments, Congressman Collins, in the Durham investigation, the first real indictment that connects with the Russia investigation, where an attorney by the name of Kleinsmith has pled guilty to altering documents that were used to spy on the Trump campaign. He apparently made it easy then for Comey, McCabe, and Strzok to find out what was going on in the Trump campaign. This is the first indictment. Number one, do you expect that there will be more?
Yes, I do, Janine. I think we're going to see more. And remember, this is not a low-ranking official. He had a big part. He was the enabler for what all that we saw going on because he changed the documents and then presented it to the FISA courts, which allowed them to spy on an American citizen, Carter Page.
Right, right. And do you think that someone told him to do this? I mean, I know the Inspector General's report, but does the indictment say that he was acting and aiding and abetted by another, or did he just decide on his own to amend these documents?
Well, I think you're going to see a whole lot come out of this. And with him being the first one, there may be others that he is now helping with that could see the whole cabal come down. Because, Gene, this has not been one person. This has been a whole group of them. Even Kleinsmith had texts talking about Viva la Resistance and liberation. They were all in this together. They hated the president. They hate him as a candidate. They hate him as a president. And they were all in this together. McCabe and Comey and Strzok and Page, all of them, all the way up the line. We saw it in the Flynn case, and now we see it here. This should be the first domino falling.
Okay, and then now we have Christopher Wray, who was aware of all of this. What is your position as regard his staying as the head of the FBI, where apparently he has fought tooth and nail, according to Senator, I believe is it Ron Johnson, yes, to prevent the American people from hearing about what happened with this Crossfire hurricane?
After what we've heard this week coming out of the more emails that have been released from Senator Graham, but also hearing from Senator Johnson as well, I've called on and said it's time for Christopher Wray to resign. It's time for him to move on. It's time for him to get out of the way because we have seen constant feet dragging from the FBI on this issue. It's taking months to get things that should have already been turned over to Congress. But also we've had trouble all along with the IG and Inspector General report, making sure that not only what those things were put in place, but other things. So we need to it's time for him to go. He's been a problem. It's time to get the FBI cleaned out.
Well, there's no question about it. Even the president says he's been very, very protective of his agency, and all of this stuff should have come out long ago. But I'm now going to go to Darrell Issa, former Congressman Issa. Now, this week, historic in terms of Israel and the Middle East, with a peace deal between Israel and the United Arab Emirates. Worthy of a Nobel Peace Prize for the president?
It is. You know, President Obama, for 12 days of being in office, got a Nobel Peace Prize, and 3.5 years of hard work by the Trump administration has created a breakthrough that only came because of a policy of being for Israel, against Iran, and for a comprehensive peace that is the beginning of what I suspect will be many nations that will recognize Israel and come out aligned with us against Iran.
And, you know, the prospect of a Biden presidency, how does that impact any of these deals in the Middle East, where apparently more, as you say, and the president intimated, Arab countries will follow through?
Well, Iran has finished spending the $142 billion that the Biden-Obama administration gave them. They've used it to support terrorism and Hezbollah and other terrorist organizations and to continue to undermine peace. So if they get back in, and if you go back to what even his friends say, Biden has always been on the wrong side of every international decision, then what we're going to do is go the wrong way, undermine peace and security in the region, just as we did during that administration. There's no question that we now know the right track is the track that President Trump explored, standing by our ally, asking others to join, and now seeing the fruit of that work. Not only is it a Peace Prize worthy, but in fact, it's going to be repeated.
Yes. I want to get to one more question before we have to go very quickly. You worked with Kamala Harris in California. My understanding is that when the police reform deal was on the table, that Senator Tim Scott had written that there was some resistance from her. Can you comment on that?
Absolutely would not negotiate with Senator Scott. I know Tim. I served with him in the House. And in fact, this is the reason I supported her opponent, another Democrat, in the general election a few years ago, is that she's been in the pocket of the wrong side for a long time. She's no moderate, and we've seen that. And she will, in fact, be to the left of Biden if they become a team.
Interesting. All right. Congressman Collins and former Congressman and Congressman-to-be Darrell Issa, thanks so much for being with us tonight.
Thank you, Judge. Great to be with you. Thanks.
All right. And Charlie Kirk and Herschel Walker still ahead tonight. But next, what happened to law and order in America, and how can we possibly get it back? Leo Terrell and Dan Bongino, two firecrackers, join me live next.
We see you, looking out for all of us. And though you may have lost sight of your own well-being, Aetna never did. We're always here to help you focus on your health, because it's always time for care.
Facing leaks takes strength. So here's to the strong who trust in our performance and comfortable, long-lasting protection. Because your strength is supported by ours. Depend. The only thing stronger than us is you.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, inventor of MyPillow. Just like you, I had problems sleeping. I tried every pillow out there and nothing worked. 15 years ago, I invented MyPillow. It took me 2 years to develop because I wanted to have everything you would ever want in a pillow. I made sure that you could adjust my patented fill so you could have the exact support you need as an individual, regardless of your sleep position. I also wanted a pillow that would last, so I made MyPillow machine washable and dryable. I back MyPillow with a 10-year warranty and a 60-day money-back guarantee. Not only that, I do all my own manufacturing in my home state of Minnesota.
I really like the fact that it was made in the USA. I think USA products are a better quality product. I've tried a lot of other pillows, and nothing's worked like MyPillow.
I'm interrupting this commercial right now to give you deep discounts, not just on my pillows, but also my mattress toppers, sheets, and so much more. For example, you can get body pillows regularly $89.99, now only $29.99, or MyPillow dog beds for as low as $19.99 with your promo code.
I used to think that sheets were just sheets. I got the Giza Dream sheets. They are the most comfortable sheets I've ever had.
The Go Anywhere pillow is so easy to just roll up and take anywhere I want to go.
Go Anywhere pillow is really comfortable, so that's what I really like. It's nice and supportive, and it's nice and small.
The MyPillow topper, for the first time, has enabled me to have a cool night's sleep. I'm able to go to bed and just get rest.
That's 3 inches of wonderful that's in the MyPillow mattress topper. It's just like a firm cloud.
MyPillow helps me get a good night's sleep so I can do my job in the morning.
Go to MyPillow.com to get deep discounts, not just on my pillows, but so much more. For example, you get body pillows regularly $89.99, now only $29.99, or MyPillow dog beds for as low as $19.99 with your promo code.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.
Now more than ever is the time to celebrate America, and you can do that with us by streaming Fox Nation. From the people that brought you Fox News, get original exclusive shows and documentaries with some of your favorite Fox News personalities, as well as great series like Duck Dynasty, crime stories with Nancy Grace and more. And it's all available now on your TV, phone, or tablet. Join now and start celebrating America with Fox Nation. Take a look.
A breaking story from the east end of Long Island. The Coast Guard is telling us that a 747 crashed into the Atlantic.
It is flight number 800. There are bodies in the water.
A plane just doesn't drop out of the sky.
We knew from the very beginning we were going to have to reconstruct this airplane.
You had the bomb theory, you had the missile theory, and of course then you always have sabotage.
Get a copy of Sean Hannity's new book when you join today. Go to foxnation.com for details.
When you can't watch, listen. Get the latest news, business, and news headlines on SiriusXM. Anytime, anywhere. Fox News Audio on SiriusXM. America is listening.
Good evening and live from America's News headquarters, I'm Jackie Ibanez in New York. Pacific Gas and Electric warning of a second round of power outages as heat wave continues to strain California's electrical system tonight. A rolling outage was ordered yesterday by the state's independent system operator, which manages the power grid. It was the first rolling outage in nearly 20 years. California is in the grips of a heat wave with triple-digit temperatures. Meanwhile, a federal watchdog is opening an inquiry into operational changes at the U.S. Postal Service that are delaying mail delivery nationwide. The Postal Service is warning states it cannot guarantee that all ballots cast by mail will arrive in time to be counted. The inquiry is the result of a letter by several Democrats, including Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren. I'm Jackie Ibanez. Now back to Justice with Judge Janine. For all of your headlines, you can always log on to foxnews.com. You're watching the most powerful name in news, Fox News Channel.
I've dedicated almost 3 decades of my life to this profession. I absolutely believe in the importance of having police service in every community.
That's Seattle Police Chief Carmen Best on Justice last week, just 2 days before she resigned from the Seattle Police Department. A huge loss for the people of Seattle and America, especially in terms of how she conducted herself. Let's jump right into it with my panel. Fox News contributor Dan Bongino, along with civil rights attorney, podcast host Leo Terrell. All right, guys, here we've got one of the best police chiefs. You know, here she is, the epitome of, the success of an African-American or a black in the law enforcement community. And she's basically edged out because because of Black Lives Mattering. Will someone make sense of this to me? Hit it, Leo.
Can I take a jump at it? First of all, let me be very clear to everyone. I don't support Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter and Antifa has been handed the keys to every Democratic city by the Democratic mayors. And what is amazing, Judge, you might recall this week, Black Lives Matter representative in Chicago said, hey, I don't have any problem with the stealing and the looting. We're stealing and robbing for food. That is insulting. What has basically happened is Black Lives Matter Antifa is now in control of these cities, and the Democrats are playing a game. They're saying we're not going to provide any assistance to protect middle-class Americans in these cities because we don't want to agree with the president. The president wants law and order, and the Democratic mayors and the Democratic governors are saying no because that would mean that the president was right. Just about New York. People are leaving New York. Joe Biden talks about being the president. He would be the president for union guys, blue-collar guys. Why are all the police unions supporting Donald Trump? Because they believe in law and order. The Democrats are going to lose the blue-collar, middle-of-the-road Democrats, and they're going to vote for Donald Trump.
Well, you know what? We'll see. Dan Bongino, what Leo said and what I said in my open, certainly it makes sense to me. If you've got all this chaos and anarchy being supported by the left, no one on the left is saying anything. What are Americans even thinking about at this point? Why isn't Trump winning by 20 points? Not that I believe the polls.
Yeah, well, you don't know he isn't. And based on the boat flotilla they had down here in Florida the other day, Judge,
I heard.
Listen, I'm out of the predictions game. I'm serious. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm just telling you now, if you for a moment think that there's not a significant grassroots, it's not a silent majority. Let's please cut the crap with the silent majority. It's not silent, believe me. There was a boat flotilla down here in Florida. It was like from here to Cuba. It was so long. And regarding, let me just comment on Carmen Best, too. So, because this is serious. If we lose this election, we're screwed. Like, everybody watching tonight understands this, right? Like, there's one thing standing between you and the horde right now, right? And it's Donald Trump. And people like Carmen Best, who was an excellent police chief in Seattle, are victims of the horde coming to you. All she did was try to police her city and dare, I'm being sarcastic, dare to suggest that you don't set up an independent chop zone in the middle of a free city. Oh my gosh, we got to get rid of her. And listen, none of this is going to change unless we have people who are willing to fight back against the triumvirate of stupid. That's the politicians who have really lost it, as Leo said, and he's right, have succumbed to the far left and are in their pockets. You've got the entertainment community, like the Taylor Swifts out there of the world, telling us our opinion on politics as if we care. And then you have the media who lies to you all the time, covering for Antifa, the Marxists and Black Lives Matter, covering for the Spygate colluders that spied on the president, covering for the defund the police lunatics. Nothing's going to change.
I agree. So, Leo, what do they gain? What do they gain? People look at this and they say, this is all. I haven't heard Joe Biden complain. I haven't heard Kamala Harris say anything. She's raising money to post bail for these looters. So what is the issue?
I'll tell you right now. And by the way, when you saw Kamala, when she got her acceptance speech, she said, Black Lives Matter. Wink, wink. What is amazing is Kamala Harris, Joe Biden are not being confronted by those two cable networks that are in the pocket of the Democrats regarding what's happening in these cities. Those other two cable companies, Judge, are totally silenced on the law and order issue. And so what that means is Joe and Kamala gets a free pass. Kamala Harris is really horrible on the issue of law and order on serious crime. That's why she hasn't said one word. And if you're watching Kamala, just say one word about the looting and the rioting in these cities. But they're in bed with Black Lives Matter and Antifa. It's not going to happen. They're going to write it out until November.
And so, Dan, the alleged excitement and the $48 million they raised in 48 hours, that means nothing?
Oh, listen, can we just all cut the nonsense, please? There's no excitement for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. There's none. Listen to me. There may be people who are furious and don't like Donald Trump. No one gives a damn about Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Judge, the guy can't even... Are we seriously doing this on your highly rated show? This guy can't even answer a question. He can't even do a media interview. Everybody's so excited. You'd think there'd be this big call to get him out in front of the media. Judge, am I wrong? Everybody wanted to hear what Barack Obama had to say. They did, whether you liked him or not. They thought he was a gifted speaker, this great orator. Everybody couldn't wait to hear him talk. There's so much excitement for Biden. Nobody wants to hear anything ever. Cut the nonsense.
Okay.
Sound like Susan Powter. Stop the insanity. This is crazy time.
All right.
Joe Biden is afraid of Donald Trump. Joe Biden is afraid of Donald Trump. That's the bottom line.
And last word, gotta go. Leo Terrell, Dan Bongino. See you next week, hopefully. All right, Charlie Kirk still on deck, but next, President Trump wants college football players back on the gridiron. A man who knows a thing or two about football, Herschel Walker, joins me next to talk about it.
Stand with his people, Israel. Now, during the coronavirus pandemic.
Inside these buildings in Jerusalem and throughout Israel,
our elderly Jewish brothers and sisters who are so precious to God, they have no access to food.
As Christians and Jews, we know that we have a scriptural mandate to feed the hungry. And here, there are thousands in desperate need. 17 years ago, Edna was in a horrible terrorist attack. She's still in excruciating pain. Her food is running out, and she's isolated and frightened.
All the time, I suffer alone with sickness and pain.
The need is especially urgent due to the coronavirus pandemic. Your call right now with a gift of $25 will rush food and emergency aid to an elderly Jewish person struggling to survive. Every gift helps keep them alive. and shows your love to God's people.
For over 35 years, the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews has been bringing Christian and Jewish communities together. And it's only with your help that we can meet this challenge of delivering emergency aid and food boxes to elderly Jews across Israel. Inside every food box, we put a note letting the recipients know that it was provided by Christians and Jews who love them.
It means so much to me.
Your help will bring emergency aid and much-needed peace into their lives. Whether you can help one time or once a month, you will receive God's blessings when you bless these children of Abraham.
Go online or call right now. You can be a miracle for an elderly Jew today.
How often do you get a good night's sleep?
I'm tossing and turning, and I'm worried, and I have anxiety.
According to a major publication, lack of sleep can impair your memory and concentration, cause weight gain and depression.
I wake up in the morning and I feel so groggy.
Wouldn't you like to get the kind of deep, rejuvenating, uninterrupted slumber that leaves you feeling refreshed in the morning and ready to take on the day? Introducing safe, gentle, natural Relaxium Sleep. Developed by a renowned neurologist, Dr. Eric Celeberity, Relaxium is a true breakthrough in sleep science.
Relaxium Sleep has changed my life. It's a great natural alternative to anything that's out there, and it works.
Its triple action formula contains a proprietary blend of ingredients, which first regulates the natural sleep cycle, then relaxes the body, and finally calms the mind. In a double-blind, placebo-controlled clinical trial,
Relaxium Sleep was proven to help you fall asleep 140% faster. You'll be an astonishing 260% more likely to sleep through the night without interruptions. Awake 69% more refreshed and alert, and improve your concentration by 80%.
With Relaxium Sleep, I woke up alert with no after effects.
And it's 100% guaranteed to work. We're so confident that Relaxium will work for you that we're giving away 1,000 bottles today. You deserve a good night's sleep, so call now and try Relaxium Sleep, risk-free for 30 days.
I work better, I'm more productive.
And if you call within the next 15 minutes, you'll also receive free expedited shipping on your order.
Thank God for Relaxium Sleep because it's truly changed my life.
To receive your risk-free 1-month supply of Relaxium Sleep and free expedited shipping, call the number on your screen or visit tryrelaxium.com. Relax, recharge, and renew with Relaxium Sleep. Don't delay, call now.
I want college football to come back. These are strong, healthy, incredible people. These are people that want to play football very badly. I've been fighting for football to come back. We're trying to help the NFL. As long as they stand for our national anthem, as long as they honor our flag and our country, if they start kneeling, I'm not going to be helping them much. They might come back, but I won't be watching.
President Trump tonight calling for a return to the field for more college football programs while taking another shot at pro players who kneel during the national anthem. Who better to discuss than former NFL running back and friend of justice, Herschel Walker. Good evening, Herschel. Thanks for joining us tonight. So, I don't pretend to know everything about college football, but I do know there's the 12 and there's the 10, and some of them are playing and some of them aren't. Can you tell us who is and why?
Well, your SEC, the ACC, and the Pac-12, they're going to play. And I tell people this, you look at the areas where they decided to play football and the areas that they're not going to play football. And I think it's a political decision because these young men are tested twice a day. These young men are scanned before they even go to practice. And I say that, the health of these young men is under scrutiny by some of the best professional doctors out there. And they're taken care of. And I feel that, if they're not in school, where are they going to be at? They're going to be at home. And if you look, some players from Oklahoma came back to school and they tested positive for the virus. Well, if they were at school, that may not have never happened. So right now, think about the concussion. It's been a big issue, but yet we're still playing football. They don't know the after effect of concussion, but we're still playing football. And they even talked about the heart. that has been something that's been going on for a long time. They've been studying the athlete heart and what's happening. So you can't use that excuse as this. And ask the players. See what the players are like to do. And if they don't want to play, they can opt out. And I think it's their decision.
Yeah, I don't know much about it, but I do know some kids who play college football, and it's their life. I mean, they've worked all their high school years to do this. But I want to kind of move now to politics. Vice President Biden picked Kamala Harris as his VP running mate. What say you?
Well, it was a tough decision, but I think this is a very racial pick. Let me tell you the reason why. When he was blasted by Senator Harris at the debate, he decided he wanted a woman. Not who's best for the job, but I want a woman. And then it was a woman of color. And then it became down to where some of the, quote, black leaders wrote him a letter that if you don't have a woman of color, we're not going to vote for you. Well, shouldn't it matter who's best for that job, who should get the job? Not saying that she didn't deserve it, but why is there pressure that she should have the job? And now, because you have a woman of color there, she's throwing all these fireballs at the president. But if the president comes back at her, the first thing they're going to say is he's a racist. The first thing they're going to say is he's against women. Well, there's a very good chance she can be president of the United States. So right now, you got to say anything goes. If you want to run for this office, anything goes. And I just think right now, this is a pick that no one want to answer questions, no one want to say anything. And I think that's what we got to get out of college sports. We need to get it out of sports is politics. Let athletes be athletes. Let us play ball. Let the politicians realize that, you know what, guys, this is the United States of America. You should be worried about the United States of America. Quit worrying about your this donkey or this elephant. Let's quit worrying about them. Let's worry about what's best for the United States of America.
I couldn't agree more. Herschel Walker, thanks so much for being with us again. And Charlie Kirk is next.
Another bundle in the books.
Gotta hand it to you, Jamie. Your knowledge of Victorian architecture really paid off this time.
Nah, I just got lucky. So did the Thompsons. That faulty wiring could have cost them a lot more than the mudroom.
Thankfully, they bundled their motorcycle with their home and auto. They're protected 24/7.
What do you say? One more game of backgammon?
Not on your life.
Isn't it times like these that reminds us of what's important? The people in our lives. The ones we love. The ones who love us. And after all, what could be more important than love? We're ready to welcome you back with open arms and lots of love. Call 1-800-SANDALS.
This summer, we've all got miles to make up. Miles to the job site, to the campsite, and anything else we set our sights on. Miles back to those who can make this summer mean more than ever. We can help you get the most out of those miles during the Ram Summer Clearance Event.
Right now, get $7,300 in total values on the 2020 Ram 1500. Shop and buy online at ram.com.
Previewing the DNC as Democrats prepare for the week that will shape their party's future. Inside the keynote speakers and everything you need to know on the next Fox News Sunday.
Goli, the world's first apple cider vinegar gummies, make being healthy simple.
Goli makes weight loss simple.
All day energy simple.
Jim, want some cake?
No, thank you.
Cutting cravings simple.
And it's simply delicious.
Healthy doesn't have to taste bad. In fact, with Goli, it's actually delicious.
Visit Goli.com/TV to get 10% off plus free shipping.
Guys, got hair loss? I know what you're thinking. Should I shave my head? Comb it over? Wear a hat? Just stop. This isn't 1970. Keep your hair and your confidence because Bosley, America's #1 hair restoration expert, can give you your real hair back permanently. Check them out today because they're giving away an absolutely free information kit and a free gift card to everyone who texts MOST to 642-642. Dude, you don't have to look like your dad because this isn't your dad's hair loss treatment. People all over the country trust Bosley because they're ahead of the curve. They use the latest technology to give you your real hair back. And the best part, Bosley's permanent solution is protected by the Bosley Guarantee. Let them show you for free how awesome your hair could look with an absolutely free information kit and a gift card for $250 off. Text MOST to 642-642. Ask about the Bosley Guarantee. That's MOST to 642-642.
Welcome to a new world of vitamins. A place where caramel, peanuts, and chocolatey goodness meet your daily multivitamin. Where a delicious vitamin energizes your day, keeping you healthy and strong. My Bite Vitamins. Health made happy.
You can hide your age behind a necklace. Or let your neck make the statement.
Gold Bond Neck and Chest Cream improves texture, increases elasticity. 97% had firmer skin. Gold Bond, Ultimate Lotion, Ultimate Skin.
The Dems convention starts on Monday. So, what to expect? Author of the new book, MAGA Doctrine, Charlie Kirk, joins me now. Good evening, Charlie. All right, the Democrats' convention goes first, and allegedly there's some enthusiasm over Kamala or whatever, Harris. And I'm curious as to whether or not that enthusiasm extends to millennials, and I couldn't think of anyone who would have a better finger on the pulse of millennials than you. So, what say you?
Yeah. Well, one of the challenges the Democrats have right now is trying to recreate the successful Obama coalition in 2008 and 2012 of minority voters, suburban women, and younger voters. This is something that Hillary Clinton failed with in 2016 when the president surprised and shocked the world. He did much better with student voters and younger voters than any Republican had done previously, even since probably 2004, 2000, in almost a couple election cycles. And I think the Biden campaign is going to see some similar challenges and struggles. Senator Harris was not embraced by the more younger liberal wing of the Democrat Party. They preferred Bernie Sanders or Elizabeth Warren far more than Senator Harris. Senator Harris is taking the Hillary Clinton approach to trying to win voters, where she has insulted the desired target demographic, saying, I quote, young people are very stupid. And when she was talking about 18 to 24-year-olds, not exactly a good way to win voters, almost like her deplorable moment. So, Judge, I think that the context was that she said young people make very bad decisions. I believe she was talking about personal decisions that young people make. And we could say all we want about how young people might be reckless. I think people of all ages are. However, trying to condemn an entire voting bloc, I don't think is a successful political strategy. Just ask Hillary Clinton. But I think there's a real opportunity here. I'm in Grand Rapids, Michigan. We had an incredible day out here with Students for Trump, with hundreds and hundreds of young people that have knocked on thousands and thousands of doors just today in Michigan. There's real enthusiasm behind the president, and I'm telling you, Joe Biden has a youth vote problem. They are not going to show up in big numbers. Another thing to think about, Judge, with a lot of these campuses going online and being closed, a big opportunity for ballot harvesting and on-campus voting, which is usually a way Democrats get some of their numbers up, that's going to be a missing ingredient for them, which I think will favor the president.
That's very interesting. You're right. Without students on campus where they kind of fire each other up and get involved, go out, campaign, knock on doors, that's not going to happen. But it's kind of stunning that what are you finding with those millennials who are supporting President Trump?
I'll tell you, whether it's online or on campus, young conservatives, people that support the president, they will vote no matter what. The same will not necessarily be said for Joe Biden. A lot of the Biden coalition right now, or the Biden success strategy, is about trying to convince reluctant voters that they must show up and vote. President Trump does not have an enthusiasm problem at all. So if these college campuses remain closed, coming into October, the Democrats are going to be lacking one of their core infrastructure pieces that they have been able to rely upon in previous election cycles to be able to gin up that kind of enthusiasm. They're going to go to Ohio State University, and there will be no football, and there will be less students than ever before, and they're going to look around, they're going to say, how are we going to get the same voting totals that we're used to at some of these major university campuses? Whereas the president's followers, no matter where they are, they will show up, if especially younger voters in particular. And also, This is a real important question for young college graduates. Who do you want to be responsible for your future? Someone like Joe Biden or Senator Harris that want to have a coastal agenda, or someone that, like President Trump, that has delivered results and leadership for our country? The president is going to do better with younger voters than any other the prognosticators, pundits, or pollsters are projecting. I see it on the ground, and I see very positive trends.
Charlie Kirk, always great to have you on Justice. Thanks so much. All right.
Thank you.
And we'll be right back. Now more than ever is the time to celebrate America. Streaming Fox Nation. From the people that brought you Fox News, get original exclusive shows and documentaries with some of your favorite Fox News personalities, as well as great series like Duck Dynasty, Crime Stories with Nancy Grace, and more. And it's all available now on your TV, phone, or tablet. Join now and start celebrating America with Fox Nation. Take a look.
All across our magnificent country, great leaders are made.
I accept your nomination for the presidency of the United States.
We will carry the fight, and we shall win.
Where inspirational ideas reach for the sky.
It's one thing to design something, it's another thing to actually build it.
And our faith makes anything possible. We are proud to be American made. All this month on Fox Nation. Get a copy of Sean Hannity's new book when you join today.
Do you have any idea how your mattress affects your body and how well you sleep? Is it too hard or too soft, causing you to wake up with sore shoulders, back, or hips? Are you uncomfortable because you're too hot or too cold? Now you can get the total body support you need and the better sleep you want with the new MyPillow mattress topper.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell. When I invented my new MyPillow mattress topper, I made it to have everything you'd ever want in a topper. My mattress topper helps give you the support you need, helps relieve your pressure points, and regulates your body temperature for you as an individual. It comes with a 10-year warranty. You can wash and dry the cover. It's made in the USA, and I back it with my 60-day money-back guarantee.
Go to MyPillow.com or call now to get your very own MyPillow mattress topper. Use the promo code and Mike will give you 30% off and 2 standard MyPillows absolutely free. Order now.
MyPillow topper delivers on its promise to give me a better night's sleep.
I can sleep all night through, and it's a miracle for me.
Mike's exclusive 3-layer design starts with a layer of MyPillow foam, providing you superior support and comfort. The second layer of transitional foam evenly distributes body weight and helps relieve uncomfortable pressure points for optimal comfort. Mike's ultra-soft outer layer is a patented temperature-regulating cover that helps keep you at your ideal sleeping temperature all night long. Unlike other sleep systems costing thousands, the MyPillow mattress topper takes comfort to a whole new level without any wires, remotes, or moving parts. Call now or go to MyPillow.com to order your MyPillow topper. Use the promo code to save 30%. When you do, Mike will give you 2 of his standard MyPillows absolutely free. That's right, 2 standard MyPillows free and 30% off your MyPillow topper today. Order now.
I personally guarantee it's going to change your bed into the most comfortable bed you'll ever own.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.
Your house brought you together. Like, really together. And although together is great, together with more space is better. With Rocket Mortgage, you get personalized loan options, closing costs, and tax estimates all in real time. So when you need to know what it takes for a home to fit your budget and your family, Rocket can.
Facing leaks takes strength. So here's to the strong who trust in our performance and comfortable, long-lasting protection. Because your strength is supported by ours. Depend. The only thing stronger than us is you.
All eyes on the DNC. As America's future hangs in the balance, the party nominates their pick for president. Fox News analyzes every moment with our expert panel. Sunday, Brett and Martha anchor special coverage of Democracy 2020 Convention Kickoff.
Democracy 2020.
It's in your hands.
Finally tonight, don't forget to pre-order my new book, Don't Lie to Me, and be the very first to have it. You can find it on Amazon.com or JudgeJanine.store. Thanks for watching. I'm Janine Pirro, advocating for truth, justice, and the American way, and justice has been served. The Greg Gutfeld Show is coming up, and I'll see you next Saturday night. Thanks for joining us tonight.
So, after months of careful deliberation in his lazy boy recliner, Joe Biden made his choice.
Watch it glimmer, see it shimmer, cool and fruity, Jell-O brand gelatin.
Yes, he would have Jell-O for dessert instead of tapioca pudding. It was a tough call. He likes the lumpiness of the tapioca. Plus, he still needed somebody to mash his peas. Meanwhile, in another room, the caregivers made this lady his VP. We went to Liz Warren for comment. Don't worry, Liz. If Joe wins, he'll make you the chief of something. Chief. She definitely has the genes for that. Yeah, Harris got the nod, but not from Joe. Well, he nodded, but he wasn't even in the room. Oh, he was in a room, but not the room. He was tucked away in a subfloor safe house, strapped in a rubber Snuggie, mainlining Ensure. Here's how NPR covered it. Take a look at this picture. Who's bigger? Now look at how The Atlantic covered it. Look at this picture. Who's bigger? What's this tell you when Biden is relegated to a movie poster version of Robin and she's Batman? We know who the top of the ticket really is. I'm looking forward to how the Washington Post covers it. So, does Kamala help the ticket? Of course she does. She's under the age of 90. She doesn't need her food cut up by a day nurse. She knows where she is. But like Joe, she can talk and say almost nothing, and that is a step up. And I think this lady on MSNBC really nails it in a segment we like to call
Stuff my 8-year-old definitely said I swear on a stack of Bibles.
Now check this out.
I like to look at it through the lens of when my daughter, who's 8 years old, when she heard that the vice president had picked Kamala Harris, her eyes got big, Chris, and said, my goodness, she's South Asian and Jamaican. That means anything is possible for a woman. And this is my daughter, who's 8 years old.
Yes, 8 years old. That definitely happened right before the child recited the value of pi to the 100th place. Now, politics is amazing in its ability to turn people into great pals after being bitter enemies. Remember, this was a year ago.
It was hurtful to hear you talk about the reputations of two United States senators who built their reputations and career on the segregation of race in this country. You also worked with them to oppose busing. And, there was a little girl in California who was part of the second class to integrate her public schools. And she was bused to school every day. And that little girl was me.
She also said she believed the women who accused Joe of sexual harassment and other stuff. But my, how that's changed.
My husband Doug and I are so grateful to become a part of your extended family.
I'm sure Dr. Jill is thrilled to have a new relative who thinks her husband's a perv. Maybe a reporter with a brain should ask Kamala if she thinks Brett Kavanaugh is still a predator, too. Or is she now part of his extended family? I want to know. But you get it. Politicians crave power and will say anything and ruin anyone to get it. Say what you want about Trump, but there's something about him that makes these fakes hate him. It's because he winks at you when he plays their game. He lets you in on it, and that's key. He doesn't pretend he's something he's not, like a moderate for Maoists, which is what the media is already portraying Kamala as.
I thought about the real caricature that Donald Trump is going to try to offer as her, right? Essentially say that she is a black radical who wants to destroy the kind of white American way of life and overrun the suburbs with criminals. That's going to be really hard when you see her there with this sort of winsome appearance. There she is in, sort of a sensible blue suit and pearls and sensible heels.
Holy crap. So all one needs is pearls and sensible heels. Thank God I shop only at Anne Klein. If only there was evidence that she isn't so centric.
I will immediately, by executive action, reinstate DACA status and DACA protection to those young people.
I believe if someone crosses over the border, it is illegal, and you would decriminalize it.
I would not make it a crime punishable by jail. It should be a civil enforcement issue, but not a criminal enforcement issue. That is why I support a Green New Deal. I believe the solution, and I'm actually feel very strongly about this, is that we need to have Medicare for all.
Now, if that's centrist, then Mike Pence is a furry. Speaking of, I hope Mike isn't going to let Joe Biden and Kamala Harris cut America's meat.
We're not going to let Joe Biden and Kamala Harris cut America's meat.
That is reassuring. Thank you, Mike. But it makes you wonder, why is the media now finding moderation appealing after decades of lying about the superiority of left-wing ideas? You helped destroy a country with liberal lunacy, and now you say, hey, you'll like this lady. She's a moderate, not like us dopes. But as the party and media lurches into a dark, dank, bottomless hole of leftism, maybe Kamala actually is a moderate. When your party now condones every sort of criminality in places run by Democrats, Charles Manson would come off like Barry Goldwater. At least Charlie was pro-family, but he also wanted a race war. Does Joe as well?
Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids. They're going to put you all back in chains.
You got more questions.
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black. That terrible day in Charlottesville, to see those neo-Nazis, close your eyes, and those Klansmen, white supremacists, coming out of fields, carrying lighted torches. At that moment, I knew I couldn't stand by and let Donald Trump, a man who went on to say, when asked about what he thought, he said they were very fine people.
What harmful bullshit. But here's my question. If Joe believes that systemic racism exists, why is he taking up systemic space? Shouldn't he admit his declining white male presence on the top of the ticket proves that systemic racism still exists in the Democrat Party? And then step aside for this woman of color? His systemic presence is a systemic obstacle. But what a contrast. Here's Trump.
After 49 years, Israel and the United Arab Emirates will fully normalize their diplomatic relations. They will exchange embassies and ambassadors and begin cooperation across the board. This is a truly historic moment.
A landmark deal, peace deal, that brings Jews and Arabs together to change the Middle East for the better. Or as CNN might describe it, racist. So what was Joe up to?
Every single American should be wearing a mask when they're outside for the next 3 months at a minimum.
So while Trump ushers in a huge peace agreement, Joe regurgitates Trump's own stance as a phony mandate. Trump makes peace, Biden makes poopy. Meanwhile, the media is already circling the race and gender wagons. This is just their shtick to silence criticism by branding all forms of it racist. They trot it out whenever they can, especially when their candidate can't stop spewing nonsense.
Then we're going to get to work fixing the mess that President Trump and Vice President Pence have created, both at home and abroad, through 4 years of mismanagement and coddling of terrorists and thugs around the world.
What? Trump coddled terrorists? This from a guy who didn't want to kill Osama? Now talking about a guy who got ISIS, Soleimani, and al-Baghdadi? No wonder the media is floating the idea that Harris is ready to take over when Joe steps aside. Maybe they're setting the table for something, and it's not just strained peas.
Period.
Let's welcome tonight's guest. He can draw the comics and cite economics. Creator of the Dilbert comic strip, Scott Adams. She's the Southern Belle who can raise holy hell. Fox Business Network anchor Dagan McDowell. She's got real flair and shiny hair. Host of Sincerely Cat on Fox Nation, Cat Timpf. And sharks have a Tyrus week. My massive sidekick and host of Nuff Said on Fox Nation, Tyrus. All right, Scott, you made a prediction long ago on the fate of Ms. Harris being the nominee, and then possibly the likely nominee after being VP. How was this rollout? Where do you see it going?
Well, I got to tell you, it doesn't seem that anybody cares who the candidate is or who the vice president is. There was a Pew Research poll that said 56% of people supporting Biden really just care that it's not Trump who wins. Mm-hmm. And then on top of that, there were another 13% who said they like Biden because of his personality and temperament, which I think is just another way of saying you don't like Trump. Mm-hmm. So if you add those together, you've got 69% of people who support Biden who don't care about anything. They just want to beat Trump. Exactly 9% of them said they cared about policies, which tells you they're just signaling that they're the complete, non-science party because they've given up on the psychology of motivation, incentive, anything about human beings, and they're just going with, well, instead of a constitution and maybe a Bible to guide us on our moral and philosophical things, let's use hate, revenge, and anger, and those will be our platforms. Doesn't really matter who's running, doesn't matter what the policies are. So we'll see if that works out.
Yeah, that's a great point. Dagan, what did you make of the rollout?
I thought it was pretty good. They really put an exclamation point with that mask mandate. That was clearly an idea cooked up by Gramps, who's afraid of stepping off the porch after several months. Because you can hear that conversation happening. What about full-body condoms? Can we hand those out to Americans? What about dancing? We need to outlaw dancing in this country because people are wicking the sweat off of them, and it's going to make elderly people sick. But one thing about Kamala Harris, she, coming from as a woman who's about the same age, being that cheery and giggly and palsy-wowsy is exhausting, particularly with a guy who, was a pervy bigot or a bigoty pervert just a short while ago and clearly past his sell-by date. She's not going to have the energy. This is past like a couple of years to keep this up. I think any woman in her shoes is thinking he's not going to be around for 4 years, maybe 2 if he wins, not 4. I'm in it to win it.
I just think that bigoty pervert is a great name for a cartoon character. I'm going to draw it when I get home. All right, Kat, I know that you are not particularly pleased with this decision to pick Kamala Harris. Am I right?
You're correct.
Yes.
And everyone keeps pointing to the fact that she was so mean to him in the debates and selling the I Was That Girl t-shirts and all those things. And they're like, this is weird now that they're a team. To me, it's not weird because you got the guy that wrote the 1994 crime bill and you have a draconian prosecutor. I think they're really a match made in heaven. I mean, Biden spent a significant amount of his career making sure that people were locked in prison for a long time for nonviolent drug crimes. And Kamala used her power as a prosecutor to ensure that people would stay in prison even when any reasonable person would have had concerns about those convictions. So it makes perfect sense to me. Do I like it? No.
Tyrus, one thing I noticed, and I know this is such an obvious observation, like how a politician could demonize somebody and then embrace them later because it's all fake. And it's actually, don't be offended, it's almost like it's pro wrestling in pantsuits. It's like they're still... it's like they're operating. It's like they're operating. It's a performance. I knew I shouldn't have said it. I knew I should not have said it.
You're okay. You're okay. He does this all the time. You're okay.
All right. I apologize. I already apologized.